Guys, I want to talk about something. It's important.
What is
it's
it?
It's racism.
What the fuck?
Very important, yes.
Zach was being a fucking butthole.
How was I being a butthole? Let me tell you what goes
Zach
on behind.
not a butthole?
Let me tell you what goes on behind the scenes with these idiots.
Hey,
Marco, hang on.
Check yourself.
Let me add a clarifier there. John, Ben, and Marco, you guys are all angels. There's only one idiot that I'm talking about tonight. Okay, so we started doing this thing. Where we have a topic as the intro instead of like just some random cold open, and we alternate it so everyone can introduce the show. And the first time it was Dean's turn, he complained and was like, "I can't. What am I supposed to think of? Like just typical Dean stuff." So I was like, "Okay, whatever. We'll just skip you then."
Diva shit.
This week, in advance, I was like, "Okay, Dean, I kind of put a message like, Marco, you have your 1 minute. This is happening. Dean, this is your week. This is your topic. Whatever." And then again today, I messaged the whole chat. Dean, friendly reminder, this is your. You got to come up with something today. And right before the show, he has nothing. It's one job. That's his only.
He still took over the topic from you, though, Dean. You didn't even get a chance to explain it. How do you?
Yeah,
feel?
I didn't even get to talk about racism. Jeez.
Well, tell me about racism.
That should just show you where Zach stands on racism. You don't even want to discuss it. So.
Tell me about racism, Dean.
Just goes to
bad.
show,
It's so bad, guys. Don't be
bad.
a racism.
Don't be a racism.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna be, seeing one dead Latino right here.
Are you an angel? What?
That's not allowed.
That was amazing.
What the hell? How dare you interrupt our intro?
That clip was
Are you an angel? What? An angel. I heard the deep space pilots talk about them. They're the most beautiful creatures in the universe.
Hello there. We are tonight's entertainment.
We would be honored if you would join us.
He's got a billion toys.
You brought in a doll collection.
These are not dolls, Jim. These are commodities. Same as gold or oil.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You are now listening to the Collecting Weekly podcast.
This is the true form of floor gang right here. Very nice. YouTube.com/collectingweekly. Thank you very much. That's very cool. Big.
Hey guys, my name is Zach.
I'm Dean.
I'm John.
I'm Marco.
No,
And I'm Ben.
I'm gonna explain. Once
We gotta
Zach's done.
figure this out.
I'm gonna explain.
Welcome to this week's episode of Collecting Weekly. It's a weekly podcast where my friends and I talk about the things that matter the most to us this week in collecting.
That's right. We want to thank everybody listening live in the chats on Twitch, wherever we're at. If you're catching it on the replay, thank you. We fucking love you guys. You're sweet angels.
What do you have there, John?
So it happens to me every Friday. I play the intro, and my computer is delayed. So it stops playing, but it keeps the computer in mute for like 3 seconds after the intro. You hate to hear it.
Wow. Yeah,
So-
it's all that. I don't know what to do. Statues all over the place. It's probably blocking all the signal.
Wow.
All that polystone and magnets freaking out your shit. Yeah,
Savage.
we got to figure out something there. But welcome to tonight's episode of Collecting Weekly. We got a great show planned for you guys tonight. Tons of news, 2 new Hot Toys, a little bit of a situation that's developed this past week that we're definitely going to talk about. And we have a bunch of angels in the chat today. We have Toy Mafia, Blame CW's Secretary of Transportation, Zach Buttigieg, Lane Kramer. We also have 6 Scale. You won't believe my luck. I got my replacement Delorean, and the lights aren't working. The first one had the axle issues. Dante's Boneyard Comics, Sam Gist, Absolute Irwin, Badfish, Mark Pearson, Bob Dylan, Pablo Meza, Collector's Entity, Equan. We also have Mark P. ready for tonight's entertainment. Albert Vasquez, Ben Thomas, Commander Gree. You'll love to see it. Mojo Z78, Always Sunnyvale, Doc Smizzle, Lane the Legend Kramer, David Jones, the Big Donk. Another great week with the collecting crew. Let's go. Look at that. Look at that pupper.
Look at that Doc's comment. Smack him.
Doc says, John, you look upset to be here.
I'm
and then
excited
to
to rip
some guy.
them to shreds tonight. You love to hear it.
Yeah, we Dean, we have a very special segment that all of our very best shows start out with.
Yeah, you guys ready?
Yes.
It's new this week.
Yeah. What'd you get new this week? I had a pretty good week on the Hot Toys 6 scale front. I picked up a Jedi Luke from our friend of the show, John Ortiz. Shout out John. He's probably in the chat. And then I picked up the Mandalorian and Grogu Deluxe version. Just came out. I think the first shipment of Stevens was today, so I finally got him. I never had the Beskar Mando before, so this is my first, and dear God, awesome figure. It's so good. Articulation's a little off just because of the suit, but I knew that, coming off of the Durasteel one.
Dean, this one's way better though than the Durasteel and the Beskar version, right? They removed a lot of the fat suit.
Oh, what are you trying to say? Fat's not fun?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Fat can be fun.
Tons of fun.
Fat can be fun, but when
In
it
fact,
comes
I'm
to
2 tons of fun.
When it comes to spreading the legs, just a
whole lot
little
of fun.
fat.
Wow,
one.
it's just
Dean can spread his legs.
Yeah, dude.
I know I saw it at Oxcon, but
yeah, so I haven't really tested it out. I got home like an hour ago, so I literally opened it up and then started getting ready for the show. So I don't really do a whole lot of dynamic stuff in my stuff anyway, so I don't think I'm gonna remove any fat suit or anything. So to me, it's great. Super happy to have it to the collection. So that was my pick.
Is it bad that I want to take that portrait and make a Last of Us figure? Yeah, you do.
Not at all.
Ooh, that would be pretty
I'm
spicy,
sure a lot of
actually.
people are going to be doing that. Yeah.
Garen.
Look at this, John. Look at this.
Oh, pretty boy.
You're on a tear, bro.
Holy shit.
Your
crazy.
foundation's going to get all fucked up, all this fucking third scale you got.
I know Canada's going to fucking fall and be...
We're leaning.
We're going to be able to drive to see John.
Would that be the end of the world, though, Dean?
I also noticed what? Say it, Ben. What
There's
are you
no
gonna
other
say?
furniture in this room. Did you sell all your furniture for these statues?
That's done well. That's a kitchen, my friend. That's a bay window in a kitchen. Sorry, I put a sofa in a kitchen, buddy. I'm sorry about that.
Maybe there's a table, a little
There's a
breakfast
fridge.
nook.
Look, stainless steel refrigerator.
Okay, you haven't
right
sold
to
the fridge
right.
yet, boys. It's good.
See,
Priorities are in
I
their
hate
place.
this, yeah. I sold it all. I use forget it. I use a toaster oven to make dinner. No. Yeah, I got the Prime 1, went back and found the Prime 1, what's this thing called again? The DK3 Master Race Batman.
Whoa.
Huge shit out to...
Whoa, we don't do Master Race.
I just told you about racism at the top of the show,
Sorry,
man.
it was fitting. Bat Kid Voodoo, shout out to him, awesome guy. Hooked it up, beautiful piece. I think my favorite Batman in my collection, third scale, best rendition of Batman in my opinion. I was hesitant in the beginning when I first saw this, but in person, this thing is a beast. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, this thing is fucking awesome.
Pictures,
John been putting
pictures-
out a bunch of Batman content lately, and
Yeah.
it's like getting me into...
I'm pivoting. I think I'm going strictly Batman. Well,
Wow, you're going to sell your Bane?
Even your hat, look at you.
Bane is Batman. Bane is Batman Incorporated.
Well, I know. Trooping with Robin, what's that?
You hate to see it.
But I know that Bane. I don't know if you're going strictly the character Batman.
Oh, no. I think...
the IP.
The IP. Like his Batman and
Yeah.
his Rogues. But
There you go.
I'll still
So
keep
many
a
good
few.
ones, though.
Like Marvel. I'll still do a few Marvel and maybe Terminator. But the focus is going to be going back to home, which is the Batman IP.
You'll love
Appreciate
to
you
see it.
guys.
So you've been on a pretty crazy tear the past 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is this the last third scale for a little bit? Or are you going back next week? We're gonna have another third scale to show up.
He's still got a lot more Hot Toys to sell, so I wouldn't be shocked if every week he's getting one of these.
I have... well, apparently Hot Toys aren't worth anything, and you could sell Hot Toys, but you shouldn't be in the hobby for making profit, because that's not what it's about. But this is, what happens when you collect. This is what it's supposed to feel like. In regards to other ones, I have 3 or 4 I want to pick up by the end of this year still.
Okay.
But I have to go on the hunt because they are they're not available anymore. They're not in stock. They sold out. long time ago, so I got to buy on the secondary market, and that's tough.
I like
Tough
this
to
a
find
lot.
sometimes. So we'll see.
Congratulations, John. This is a beast.
Appreciate
Absolute
you.
Beast of a
beauty.
statue.
Congrats.
Fucking beautiful. Marco, what'd you get?
Yeah, so I picked up my Miles Morales finally. Made a little trip down to Southern California. Saw our boy Cuervo. Also saw Eddie and Mario. And yeah, it was a great time. Useby and also, oh my gosh, Calvin. Stayed with Calvin. So yeah, really, really great crew. Really great time. Finally picked up this Miles that Cuervo got for a crazy deal for me. Haven't unboxed him yet, but really excited. I picked up the third-party Jordans as well, so he will be good to go and ready to insert in my display here very soon. Zach, are you still considering this one, or has that ship sailed?
You know, I do want to get it. It's one of those that I think I'm going to wait until I can get it for like 170, 180, especially with the new movie coming out. You know, Hot Toys is probably going to announce the new figure. And I think at that point, that'll be where I try to make my move. But yeah, I'm not in the business of paying full price for Hot Toys right now. It's just,
no doubt.
You know, I think there's deals to be had, especially if you're patient. So
Equine got this for under 190 for me, and I feel really good
that's
about
a good
that.
deal.
So yeah.
Wow. That's a really good deal.
How are you supposed to turn a profit with for under 190? That's nuts.
Yeah, I guess it goes to show how much Sideshow tacks on for figures, right? If yeah, it's crazy how much of a deal that these things could go for.
Completely agreed. So, have you had a chance to mess with it yet, or I know you said
Not
you
at
have the
all.
Jordans,
I
but...
just took him out of the brown shipper box. It's been a crazy week thus far, so haven't messed with him, but really looking forward to doing so.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to put the Jordans on or have him holding them, because I know one of the things you've highlighted is be careful as it might rub as you're kind of putting those shoes on. So haven't decided just yet.
Film Gigi posing it. She needs another posing session.
Yeah, actually, this will be a good one for her to pose. So yeah, so we might do some.
That's your second attack on fat. It might rub. You see, that's unacceptable.
You hate to
It's
see
called
it.
chafe. It's called chafe.
Wow.
Dude, you got to get that gold bond for the inner thigh. It's a game changer, boys. It's a game changer.
Powder up, boys.
Light a fire.
The Gucci's.
Yeah, there you go. I had a interesting week. So I've been looking for this Revoltech Iron Man probably for 3 or 4 months now, and I almost pulled the trigger on it around that time I first started looking for it. But I kept putting it off. You know, I was kind of hoping for a deal. These go for about $120, and I found a kid in San Antonio that had one for $70, and then we negotiated a bit, and I was able to get a little bit off of that. This figure is incredibly frustrating, though. Every little accessory on it, it has like a baggie with like 25 Revoltech joints, and you have to like port in the joint into every accessory. And all the ball joints pretty much look the same, but apparently there's different ones, and the instructions aren't in any sort of language that I can read. Getting this pose together took like half an hour, and I was like, bro, I'm putting this shit back in the box and selling it. Very, very annoying to handle. The Revoltech joints are very one-directional. Like, they're basically all hinges. They're not ball joints. And so, like, the knees there's like a cut in the knee where it kind of just moves in that one plane. And it's just weird. I think the figure looks great, though. I did put it in a few poses. Did everything I needed it to, but holy Jesus, to get it into some semblance of a pose with the accessories that are in the box was just terrible.
These are both awesome poses, by the way.
Yeah.
They're fire.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
There's a general consensus on the Amazing Yamaguchi line. Incredibly frustrating to deal with, but once you get a fucking really good pose, almost better than any other figure you're gonna find on the market.
What's the line called?
Revoltech, Amazing Yamaguchi, Revoltech.
I knew it was a setup.
You motherfucker! How dare you?
I said bless you, but I was on mute, so the joke kind of.
Now the second figure that I got, again, an incredible deal. I kind of threw a Hail Mary out there on Stash Bin because this figure, the Marvel Legends Retro Symbiote Spider-Man, goes for about $45 to $50 on like Mercari and eBay. I put up a Hail Mary post. I was willing to pay that price, but put up a post, and within an hour, a guy's like, "Hey, I have it. I'm at class right now. I can meet you tomorrow. $25. It's good to go." And this figure poses so I can't stop like touching this figure. It just every pose I put it in, it looks fucking awesome. And it's cool because the symbiote Spider-Man, like the webs on his character, come out the sort of the back of the palm, so I don't have to worry about bringing extra hands with me when I take him out and just kind of pose with him. But yeah, this thing is sick. The only thing I think it needs, the one that Dean has that I'm trying to get off Dean, has like a port in the back where you can port it into like a figure art stand. This one doesn't have that, and God, to me that's the only thing that I think would make this better, is just a small port on the back where you could kind of plug him into a flight stand.
Also, to me, I don't know if it matters to you, but the size of the eyes.
Yeah, so with this one, I don't know why they did that, but the one that you have has those much larger eyes.
Fucking ridiculous.
The body is totally different. So I meant to answer your question, but you asked what the difference was. This is on a whole different body. The one that you have is on the pizza Spider-Man body, and this is the retro red and blue Spider-Man body that they retooled for the black suit.
Oh, okay.
But
well,
yeah,
$80.
this thing is fucking awesome. I literally can't stop playing with it. And it's got me looking at the statue, which is on waitlist. So I hit up that waitlist.
Look at
so
you.
We'll see.
Damn.
We
Acting like
shall
Fern right
see.
now.
Do you
buying an expensive bed?
Do you still
looking at
Expensive
statues?
guns?
Do you still have your Miles statue?
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
the premium format.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
down
great
there.
fucking statue.
You can't ever see it because I have this big ass table in there. But yeah, Joker J says, love Amazing Yamaguchis. David Jones, the Amazing Yamaguchi My Hero Academia figures are some of the best articulated figures I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was a good week for me. But then I'm like, do I want the Medicom symbiote Spider-Man that's much more expensive, that is more fragile and more dainty, or do I want this one that I can just beat the hell out of and,
I would say
I don't know.
for the amount of money
My
you're gonna
toxic trait.
for the amount of money on top of what you would spend on a Marvel Legends anyway. So maybe additional $40, 60 worst case scenario. I would say kind of weigh that against how much you enjoy your Batmans.
That is true. And I've even, just to sidetrack the show just a bit, I've even been looking at my Mafex Batman DKR stuff, and I'm like, damn, like, I could probably sell this for a bit of money. And I don't know. I'll probably have to talk about it on After Dark tomorrow because I really don't want to derail the show too much. But yeah, I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, I'd probably keep the Hush stuff because I really like that comic. Not that I don't like DKR, but the Hush stuff is fucking incredible. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, dang, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Mafex Batmans. Like,
You can never have enough.
$100 a pop.
They're
like,
nice, though. They are nice.
That's a Hellcat, bro.
Batman, though. Name a better
I don't know.
superhero than Batman.
I don't think I can. Probably Howard the Duck. Anyways,
Wow.
yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. I don't know. But this is where I'm at right now, actually. Hot Toys announced 2 figures last night, and it's funny because just last week, or perhaps the week prior, I was kind of thinking, like, are they actually going to give us the rest of the team? And not only are they going to give us the rest of the team, but are they going to be in their Season 1 outfits? Because the Season 2 stuff just has this weird colors all over the place, different armor plates. It just looks weird.
Is this guy supposed to look like Bryan Cranston?
It really does. Tech 279 April to September
so.
2024. And I have to say, they have done magnificent work on this figure. There's some people that are saying the portrait doesn't look great. I don't necessarily agree with them. This is next level. And there were parts that I was concerned about because in a lot of the photos, they don't show the helmet off of the body with the visor up. And it made me think that there's like a head built into this helmet where it's all one separate piece. But there are photos where they show the helmet being empty, like here on the left. So that gives me a lot of excitement. The fact that you can remove the goggles is really great. I hope that they keep up with the way that they've been doing the Bad Batch figures, specifically Echo, where all these antennas are made of like aluminum or metal. That way they're a little less fragile. Comes with his tools, comes with lots of hands. I am genuinely super, super excited for this. And, I have the 2 figures. I don't have Crosshair on pre-order yet, but because of this announcement, I will now pre-order Crosshair and then begin pre-ordering these next 2 figures. And so I'll let you guys talk about tech before we move on to Rekka, but this has been an amazing week for me.
Bro, I'm pretty sure you could go back and listen to the first time these were ever announced. I was like, dude, it's an ensemble cast. That's a lot of money. I'm not really keen on spending that kind of cheddar. But God damn, these figures look so good. And, not to get into too many spoilers of the show, but I feel like this photo right here, you could have this photo and be okay with the Bad Batch.
You mean in terms of the characters?
Yeah, like if you wanted a Bad Batch shelf, you could have these 3 and you're good. Now, if you want to get the other 2, absolutely. That'll also look fucking cool. So with that being said, now that, season 2 is, I think we got like 4 weeks left. Yeah, their outfits are a little different, but, goddamn, dude. The second they announced Wrecker and Tick, I was like,
Ricka?
One, the Rekka is actually like proper sized. I thought they were gonna like kind of go all cheesy with it and just make him like, I don't know, put some ankle extenders on there, but he's actually like huge. So yeah, I immediately was like, okay, I gotta track at least Hunter down immediately. So that'll be my next purchase.
Yeah, DJ says these figures look great, but too bad the source material is mostly filler garbage. Yeah, there's certainly nuggets in that show, but
it's filler. I wouldn't call it garbage. It's good Star Wars. It's fun to watch.
The Big Donk Tech's character development in the current season makes this a must-have for me. Yeah, he's kind of portrayed like a nerd in the show, but then you're like, well, he's also like a fucking equivalent of like a Navy SEAL. Like he is a fucking badass warrior.
Yeah, he might actually be my favorite character in the show.
Yeah. It's between him and Hunter for me.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you think, John?
I haven't watched Bad Batch, but I think this looks freaking epic. The suit looks good. I like the portrait. I pulled up what he would look like animated. They're not going to do an animated portrait. So for a lifelike rendition of him, I think it looks really good.
Especially with the goggles on.
You know what my worry is, though?
What's that?
How they engineered the helmet to go over the portrait.
Because I don't know how they did that.
In the center there, his eyes are showing. So unless there's some, it looks like the portrait's under there. So unless it comes apart in 2 parts, like Loki's helmet, where then you just attach it over the face.
This is a total casual question here, Zach. But the one that you have that's not Hunter, what's that gentleman's name?
Echo.
Echo, and his helmet kind of goes on similarly, right? Like it encases the sculpt.
It slides forward. It's really weird, and then you can pop that off so that he can hold the helmet without because that stuff stays on the back of his head, obviously, so he can hold it. What I'm thinking, John, maybe this is like just an idea, and I think what you've said is probably the way they're going to do it, where it's 2 halves.
Yeah.
But I'm almost wondering if it's almost like Batman, where the mouth plate, and in this case it would be the eyes and the goggles, pops in. That's the only other way I can see them doing it, because you have to think there's a joint in there, but then he's also in some photos holding it, and then it's empty, so it's like
I'm thinking
I'm just worried about scuffing or anything like that.
I'm thinking somewhere under the rotating visor,
or under here, like with
like magnets, and it's like a clamshell,
or like how kind of like Shredder can take his mouthpiece off, like
under
his helmet here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's how it looks like.
I think that's how it's going to be, Ben. Looking at because if you look at it, would make sense. The goggles would be attached to the goggles are removable, and then that visor part is attached to the part that the ears there, whatever that flaps here on the side, and it lifts. It hides the seam there, and then it separates at that point. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. But this looks great. To me, this looks perfect.
For sure. I liked the first season of Bad Batch. I've watched only the first 2 episodes of the second season, and then it lost me a little bit. I haven't gone back to it. I think these are badass. I am happy to see that Hot Toys is completing a line. It does give me hope for some of the other lines that I'm looking forward to. Not even necessarily looking forward to, but even just like things like the Grand Inquisitor teases, where it's like, if we're gonna get some of the Grand Inquisitors, why not get them all? And like some of those types of completionist lines, I think will be beneficial, especially if they're pursuing these guys. I like the fact that it doesn't look like Tamora Morrison. I know it's not necessarily supposed to, because it's kind of rendered from the cartoon, but I like that they don't, like, Hot Toys didn't try and save any money necessarily by just tweaking a Tamora Morrison head sculpt. Like, they all look very unique. They've all had work done, which I appreciate, and it gives them kind of a uniqueness while they all match each other as well, which I think is badass. I agree with you, Dean. I think like 3 of them could look good. I think even 2 of them could look good if you just had 2 of your favorite characters, but 5 will be a mega badass display. Can't wait. It's not something that I'm gonna put my money into. I don't love the show enough, but I think it's pretty badass for those who are excited. So yeah, definitely.
Pablo Mesa says, "Oh, they did it with the T1000 helmet over sculpt, upper and lower detached. Sounds similar to what they may do here." Yeah, so I'm not a Bad Batch fan, as you can tell by my question. Have not seen an episode yet. I hear that it's getting pretty good in the latest season, so may have to watch it.
Bro,
just too much Merlin, though. You know what I mean, Zach? You know what I mean? I know, there's just way too much content out there.
Every single day I try to catch up on Merlin, and every single day I'm left disappointed.
That's right. maybe tomorrow. But yeah, so I will say this one interests me the most out of all the releases so far for the Bad Batch. I think because he looks less like a blacked out clone trooper and just more like a really cool, like almost like a transformer in a certain way, like a bug. So I really like the design of this character, knowing nothing about him. And it's really cool, all the little modular pieces and all these little details. This is exactly what we want from Hot Toys, is a release similar to this, lots of options and lots of little accessories. So this is exciting, but definitely not for me. But I love things that get like the community so excited, and this is definitely one where I've felt the buzz, this and the next release. So really cool to see.
Gives me kind of an Ant-Man vibe, I'm not gonna lie.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
How dare you, Robin? One thing that's interesting to me is the models for the show change a lot scene to scene, and in some scenes, for example, Hunter would have a holster for his sidearm, and then in other scenes, like within the same episode, he wouldn't. And looking at this, like, it seems like there's one holster for on his left arm, but he kind of rocks 2 throughout the show. So I'm wondering, I kind of like weapon storage, so I'm wondering where that second pistol's supposed to go. One thing that is absent from the product description for me is on Crosshair, a lot of his, in the description, I believe it says that it's made of genuine leather, some of the parts on him. And so this character, I think of all of them, has the most pouches. Yeah. And so it's kind of concerning to me that it doesn't say that. I would almost prefer them to be rubber, to be honest, rather than pleather. So we'll see how that turns out, because they just say it's a utility belt with holster. But man, this looks incredible. And I know they're all clones. They all, kind of should look like Tamora Morrison, but the Bad Batch specifically, like, even in the show, they don't look like the other clones. Like, you'll see Rekka here next. Like, I mean, they're all very, very different. Rekka's a bit more expensive, $290. Like Dean said, it is a much larger figure. This one releasing same time frame, April to September 2024. This is fucking incredible.
Almost
I appreciate that.
Arnold.
It kind of does. I appreciate that they either recessed that ball joint for the helmet just enough where he can. In the show, a lot of times he'll rest it on the back of his head like that. That's great. When you think of the iconic poses for Wrecker, the one that you always think of is when he kind of puts his fists together. This one looks like it can do that as well.
What is he doing when he does that? Like, is it just a taunt?
It's just like, it's time to go.
Dance? Okay.
Yeah, a little emote, if you will. Comes with his the clone commando blaster. Comes with his big sword. This is incredible. I would say the neck, I think this is the weakest part for me, to be honest, because I feel like in the show he's got like a really thick neck, and he looks very, I don't know, he just looks
Pinheaded.
he looks a little pinheaded for me. But the sculpting and the scar, his He has that white in his eye on the left eye. I mean, this portrait is fantastic. You know, neck aside, I mean, it's weird when you see things translated like this, you know, from the 3D, you know, very angular to a really realistic look. I think that they have done an incredible job on the team, and this again, like, this is going to be a pre-order for me. He's huge. I want to say 33 centimeters is where he's measuring in at, and you can see him stacked up against his brothers there. He's a monster. He's a monster, and I'm here for it.
Eureka. Yeah, I love it. I love everything about this photo. They won me over. I was fighting real hard not to get these, but god damn it, here I go.
Good. They're good, bro.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, I'll eventually own Zach's.
When he changes his focus.
Dare you?
Yeah, in about 3 weeks.
Only if Hot Toys makes Merlin figures.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm immediately gonna start looking for a Hunter or an Eco. If you guys have any for sale, let me know. Anybody listening? So yeah, I can't wait.
I was just looking at the heavy infantry Mando, and it's 32 centimeters. So I'm wondering if they were able to get some reuse out of that body. Possible.
That's a good point.
But
also,
I do like this.
He must be huge. If Heavy Mando's a pretty big figure, and this one's just a touch taller.
Yeah, and like I mean, that could just be the helmet. It could be some of the shoes. It's hard to know, right? But no, this is badass. I really like that blinded eyes, like eyeball. I think that's crazy. If I were gonna buy one, this would be the one that I'd be looking at for sure. I thought he was one of my favorite characters. I also kind of like the comic reliefness to him in the show. So
yeah, this figure is really impressive. So I saw this prototype at Comic-Con, and 33 centimeters, it's like 30 centimeters more than you really need. So I'm glad that they went all the way and made him massive.
Truer words.
But I think overall, I don't love this sculpt, but again, having not seen the show, I couldn't really say how that represents the character. But I think you're right with the proportions of the neck, and it just looks goofy like that to me. But when he puts on his helmet, the figure looks incredible, and just really happy for anyone that may be completing this line. I feel like the majority of folks that I've talked to are going all in on this line, so I feel like the weird one for not being enthused by this. But again, really happy for those that are excited by these.
Yeah, the Bad Batch were like mythical. Remember, Zach, back in the day? Because they were supposed to be at the end of the show, and then they canceled the show. And so you could
we had
watch like
renders.
test footage
Yeah.
of the episode, and it was like, damn, that was going to be so cool. Clone Force 99 was going to be bad ass, and they canceled the show to make Rebels, and it was like this whole thing. And then fast forward, until a couple years ago, they're like, hey, season 8 Clone Wars, it's coming out after all. And bam, Clone Force 99, right, the Bad Batch, fucking comes in and kicks ass. You're like, fuck yeah. And then, eventually they got their own show. So like, for a lot of people, I think it's like, we're finally so grateful that like the stuff is coming out for these guys, because we wanted it for so long. And like I said, like, yeah, most of the show is filler, but it's still really fun to watch. Like, it's mildly annoying. It's like, all right, can we like get to some story, some semblance of a plot here? But, week to week side missions, it's still fun, Star Wars. So yeah, I love the show.
John, do you want to take a crack at this one?
Yeah, again, I think this falls just into the same as the previous one, the tech we were talking about. The portrait, really, they did a really good job with the portrait. The scarring on the face, as well as his eye, I think they did really well. The armor looks really good as well. And all of them, the crew all together would display very well on the shelf. I just want to give them some credit that they were able to finally finish the entire team without missing any of the characters.
Bro, that Echo looks so good, dude.
Bro, you gotta come and check them out, team. They're super solid in person.
Yeah. The only problem I have with the Echo, and maybe we'll see it eventually, he never uses that arm in this photo.
Yeah, I think it's because they were working on a lot of the pre-production images, like the concept images, because he comes with quite a few.
Right.
Marco said he's hearing a buzz. What buzz? I hear like a very minor one. But
Okay, it just went away there.
Not that loud.
Okay, it's gone now. So whoever just muted,
Is it me?
whoever muted their mic, yeah, it might be you, Dean. Maybe let's just throw on music. Forget it.
Yeah. I think you have a fridge going in the background, Dean, or something like that.
Oh yeah,
just mic mute for me. So the question naturally then is, do we think they're going to give us Omega? And I genuinely feel like it's a missed opportunity if they don't. And you might think, well, she's a small character. Like, what are they going to do to get that value for you? And I think packing her in with AZ3, since you're going with season 1, I think would be a great idea. I think that'd be a great 2-pack. Run it at 250, Omega and AZ3 with their big ass bow.
And
electric
don't
bow
forget
thing.
about Gonki. Oh, I guess he's season 2.
Why are we talking about big asses again? Like, what the hell, man?
No, not Badonki.
Wow, I'm
Gonki.
feeling attacked.
They have on their ship. They have a power droid called Gonki.
But the thing is, the Gonk droid, I feel like at that point, then you're looking at like $300 if you're packing in both droids.
Yeah, but they have already made a power droid, haven't they? Reuse the fucking sculpts. Got that motherfucker.
I think
out there.
didn't they do it with the
the Jawas. I thought.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct.
There's not a lot of Hot Toys rules that we can follow, but it really seems like they don't make children is a rule that is like so true, right? We didn't get a Miss Marvel. We didn't get what's the one from? There you go, John.
Luke, though.
Well, that was an accessory, right? So, yeah, I feel like
they released Grogu on his own.
Again, an accessory though, but like a standalone child.
What
was the one for multiverse?
Standalone style child.
I guess so. It was like an accessory pack, though, is how it was considered.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it just feels like that's a pretty hard and fast rule, unless anyone can think of an
I don't think Hot
example.
Toys has ever made a little kid like this, like a teenage. What is she, like a teenager? She's like 12, 13?
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
Because if they were going to, I would have thought they would have tackled a Harry Potter line at some point. But
that too.
I think InArt has the list.
InArt's going to be doing that.
I think they will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Race used to have them.
I just really like
AZ3.
AZ3.
No young lady.
I like your idea with this one, Zach, with the droid. I think that would be pretty cool. Some people in the chat are saying this should have been a Build-A-Figure with Hot Toys if they complete the line.
Ooh, that would have been.
Can you
wait
imagine?
a second. That's not a bad idea.
You
Try
get an
that out.
Omega arm or a head sculpt
Wow,
floating
that's
around in your box.
horrifying.
Asmus had. I don't know that they ever did it like all the way through, but you could build an orc, I think, with their old Lord of the Ring figures. But I want to say they never released all the parts. I could be wrong there, but
that's where it would
the way
fail.
that I remember it.
Also,
that's where it would
Seyful is
fail.
clarifying that Grogu is an old man. That is true. So he's like in his 50s, maybe?
Yeah, but he's 50 out of like 1,200. I mean, like,
True.
Yeah,
he's still a baby.
And the fucking first episode is only called The Child.
That's a great point, Dean. All right, lawyered. Boom.
Yeah. Boom, you got lawyered. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. This is the, phase 1/phase 2 shiny. No specific unit markings or Legion markings there. This one was released. I think it looks great. I think Hot Toys has this dead to rights, to be honest. I think the weathering looks fantastic. It's subtle. One of my biggest complaints with like the Sideshow Troopers was they had like very big streaks on their armor. So if you got like 2 or 3 of them and they all had the exact same big ass scuff on their chest, it always looked a bit odd. These have weathering, but there's not like a big ass fucking blaster hole in the armor plate that when you build, a shelf of 2, 3, 4 of these, they're going to all look like they all got shot in the same part of their armor. So I think these are great. And honestly, Sideshow basically had these shipping the day they released in Hong Kong. I know Riley pretty much got his the next day. So, if you're in the United States and you have this on order, probably be getting yours pretty soon.
Yeah, these are fucking beautiful. I literally have nothing bad to say about these. Clones are badass in any way you get them. And to have a fucking blank clone, I mean, you can't go wrong. It's like having 2 A New Hope stormtroopers, right? Like, just blanks. yeah, the commanders are cool, and they have their own shelf. But if you just want like 2 cool looking figures on the shelf to represent a movie, this is it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is Clones, Troopers. It's Hot Toys' new Iron Man, right? Their moneymaker right now, so they're gonna keep pumping them out as long as they're executing them well like this. There's not much to say, not much to complain about. People buy 2 or 3, display them nicely together on the shelf.
Yep.
Go ham.
Yeah, there's not a ton of figures that inspire me to want to buy 2. But when you get pretty uniquely different helmets with these guys, like immediately you want both in the collection, in my opinion, if you're a huge fan of Clone Wars. So I think they're badass. My White Stormtrooper is easily one of my favorite figures, despite kind of the plainness of them, because it's just so iconic to Star Wars. So yeah, these are badass for sure.
Dean brought up racism today, and you have the audacity to talk about your White Stormtrooper. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think he has a black Stormtrooper too.
Yeah, come on, he does. He doesn't discriminate. Did you have the brown one? Because if you don't, then
I never got the brown one.
I
never did.
You hate to see it.
Why is the brown one called Death Trooper?
Or the gold one, or the red one, or the rose colored.
Okay,
Shadow Trooper, yeah.
Baked Bean Trooper. So this one intrigues me.
Okay.
This one intrigues me the most
That's
because
okay, Marcos.
I thought I smelled something.
Holy cow, some guacamole. Let's run through the greatest hits today. So this one intrigued me the most because, remember, this was the first one that was kind of the new wave of Hot Toys that went on waitlist, and this is the first one that's coming out now. It's still on waitlist, so it's shipping from Sideshow, still on waitlist. Really curious to see if we're going to get a lot of conversions, if it's going to be in stock at any point, or if it's just going to stay on waitlist. So if that is the case, then Hot Toys and Sideshow would be setting the tone that, hey, you need to pre-order because here's the rule now. When it goes on waitlist, it's going to stay on waitlist. So really keeping an eye on this one. This is definitely in the want category, not the need category. I love the Phase 1 helmets, though. I think that's like my favorite look. I think the accessories that this comes with is great. So if I'm able to get one in the future, I think I would snag one. But who knows? I might have missed out. So the risks you take, and I think this is one I'd be okay with missing out if I do.
I bet we see some conversions. I'd be shocked if this was just gone.
It feels like it, Ben. This is an easy one for them to just print money.
So
Feels
to mention
like a
quickly,
conspiracy.
I think that Sideshow, what that Sideshow said, that video we touched on a few months back where they said, things are gonna start selling out and they're changing their business practices. I think it's real. I don't think it's a game.
Really?
Maybe for the first few figures you may see some conversions and so forth, and I think you'll always see conversions because Hot Toys is mass produced and it will get to the time to pay and people will cancel. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
So you'll see conversions, but the whole from sold out or waitlisted back to in stock and stuff, I think that's gone. And I think that was proved today on the statue side. We were discussing it briefly a bit.
Oh, the 250 edition.
The 250, yeah. So I think Sideshow kind of got themselves stuck in a sticky situation, and they are really clamoring to get out of it. So although if you see something waitlisted, jump on the waitlist. But if you really want something pre-ordered, you should start considering about pre-ordering not necessarily day one, but fairly early.
I find it hard to believe that guys like these, though, will not be converted. Because, I mean, like, these are, like you even called it earlier, like, these nuts, these are moneymakers, right? And so, like, this is something that they could keep on their website for quite a long time, and people would still slowly buy them to army build over time.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I can see your point, though, for, like, more unique characters or a little bit more niche characters from certain films. Yeah, definitely, I can see the reduction in stock happening. But these seem like they're such easy wins because Star Wars collectors will continue to buy them.
The problem with that, though, is the Sideshow doesn't want to have pieces sitting in their warehouse anymore. They have it up to their neck.
That's true.
Full of stuff. So
storage costs is what we were talking about.
Captain Marvels
right?
in their fucking warehouse.
Yeah.
I get what you guys are saying, but I feel like all the time, like I see things going to waitlist and then they're, like immediately people are converting. Like I still don't feel like I personally believe it yet. I think I need to wait, like Marco says, for a bigger sample size because, Iron Man 3, like, or a Mark 3 rather, like that's to me that's like a bread and butter figure for Hot Toys. Like I can't imagine that Hot Toys / Sideshow have that one on waitlist already. Like I just can't. So I guess we'll have to see. Like to me, even this, like it's a moneymaker, but I don't necessarily think this is a flagship figure, right? Like when I start seeing Iron Man, you know, Mark 3s, you know, then I'll believe it. But I don't know. It's a toughie.
Like, Peacemaker was one that a lot of folks have talked about, even myself, because like it went waitlist a while back, and then a lot of people never got a conversion on it, and it never came back in stock like some of the other yo-yos we saw. But then even today, I saw somebody on Facebook say that their Peacemaker converted. So it's like,
yeah, I've seen a few of those.
Is it happening? Is what is happening? Like why
Converting
did it take months?
So converting is fine. So we're getting converting and going.
Yep.
We're getting converting.
Not back in stock is different.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah,
it's different.
Yeah, I think John, you're right. Like when I start to see that come back in stock, then the tinfoil hat comes.
That's
on.
A red flag.
Peacemaker is at the moment waitlist full. Let's kind of rewind a bit back to other 1/6 scale stuff. This is by Mondo Toys Trapjaw. This is a timed edition, 48-hour window between March 7th through 9th. And this one comes in at $235 with a release of September 2023. Ben, tell me about this.
You muted me, so I was like, "Oh shit, am I breathing loud into the
you were
microphone
breathing really
again?"
loud.
Was I? Oh, I was getting all excited for it. You hate to see it. Yeah, so obviously Trapjaw. This is from Masters of the Universe He-Man series. So cool. The biggest reason I wanted this on the show sheet today is because of that timed release, like you mentioned. If anybody's interested in these figures, especially through Mondo, most of the previous versions so far have sold out. So there's been 2 versions of He-Man and the Battle Cat. The Battle Cat was like $500. The He-Man was about $235. I believe this guy's $235. Comes with the 3 different head sculpts. Both versions of this character, kind of his like previous version or his earlier version before his mouth and arm are broken by Skeletor. So super cool figure. I would definitely recommend watching some of the original cartoon if you don't know who this is. I think for the folks who do, it's going to sell out real quick. I'd be shocked if it stuck around too long. So not to create FOMO by any stretch, but again, you have about 48 hours or less now. Obviously, you have until end of day on the 9th. To consider getting this guy locked in. But very, very cool figure.
So they close windows, right?
They close their windows. Okay.
Yeah, these windows stay closed from what I understand.
Yeah.
Real quick, just going back to Hunter, I'm looking at Sideshow's website, and they have him listed at 12.2 inches, which is the same height as the other Bad Batch figures, so hopefully that's not correct. Based on the 34 inches.
Hunter or Ricka?
Or Ricka, sorry. My apologies. Yeah, just want to pull this up here.
I think they have like a base stat that's like, oh, it's a Hot Toy, just put 12.2.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, wait a second.
I see what you're saying.
He's not that size. Anyways, let's...
That apple looks totally fake.
Let's go on here. Now, it seems like InArt is really getting these Jokers into these companies' hands. So Kit posted an update, 1/6 Kit. As soon as we were shipping out more Jokers, more people asking for updates, I can tell you that I'm hungry as you all do. I told InArt the same thing. You guys told me I have the money ready. Send me that invoice, bitch. So I just want to say that I really can't provide any sort of updates because I don't know when that will be the next batch and how many units for the next batch. I do think people could ship all Jokers in maybe 2 months. Patience, people. I ordered the Rooted 2-pack for myself, and I will be the last guy unboxing it, which you'll love to see that. KG Hobby posted a pallet of I want to say this is the Deluxe 2-pack. So they're certainly getting theirs in. And I want to say, Marco, there was something from Spec Fiction where some sort of situation happened. Do you want to?
Yeah, I think they had an intern that maybe ran some invoices that weren't in the order that they were placed, and so they had to reverse all the charges. And then they're like, "Hey, we're going to send them out in the order that they were placed." And so some folks got excited, pay their invoice for a figure they're not going to get. But it sounds like Spec had it under control. But yeah, this Joker is making people lose their mind, including myself. I don't appreciate Kit sharing the conversation we had via private email, but no, I'm joking. I was one of those people that emailed him. I really appreciate this transparency because it had been kind of silent on this. and we haven't heard from InArt at all. So I appreciate him taking the lead and putting this out there. It would have been nice if he would have like gotten ahead of it maybe like a month ago, like, hey, they're kind of trickling in. I got about this many. This is the amount of orders I got. He could be a bit more transparent, but this post was well timed because I know I'm getting impatient, and I'm normally the most patient with figures. I'm like, wait for them for forever. I'll wait till I'm ready to pay for them, but this one I want. And having our friends get them, it's like, okay, where's my freaking figure at? So I can wait a bit more, but I don't want to wait like 4 more months. So 2 months sounds appropriate if possible.
Wow, Lane says just canceled my Joker from InArt from Spec Fiction yesterday.
Wow.
I thought Manny was getting that one. Wow. So John, have you gotten your invoice yet, or any of you other guys?
No, nothing yet. You got the rooted, Margot?
Oh yeah, man. The rooted. I got 3. So I got the single sculpted and I got the rooted 2-pack.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I haven't got anything, and I'm in absolutely no rush. I'll be frank. He could take, if he says 5 months, I'll wait. I'm in no rush whatsoever.
6 Scale says, I don't think Gandalf and Batman are coming anytime soon. I'm expecting December 2023.
Not at this rate.
No, not at this rate.
It's
And it's weird because we had
a lot to drop.
We had all that communication from InArt in the beginning, and it seems like they've been pretty radio silent.
They're
the past few months.
I'm sorry. They are just disgraceful at this point.
Yeah, Usby says Manny's getting mine now because Lane let him down. Sean says he has the sculpted version from OSK last month. Great figure. Now, Mars Toys, we talk a lot about them on the show here and there, and I always say that the quality of this company is kind of came out of nowhere, to be frank. And their prank villain, I think it looks great. I think, for Romero Joker, for the price points that these are going for, to me, this looks good. I don't have the eye for this character like I do for Vader and Gandalf, but on a cursory inspection from a casual fan, this shit looks like it's ripped right off the television screen. This looks pretty damn good.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe this is $160.
Yes, sir.
3 head sculpts that are this good. Yeah, the outfit is well tailored. You get a ton of accessories, and I believe the $160 is like the deluxe version with the more stuff in a box.
With the surfboard.
Yeah, and like the outfit and the little backpack thing. I could be mistaken, but I think there's like a version that doesn't have all that. Yeah, this is fantastic. I mean, Mars Toys has come out with some bangers in the past, and this is right up there with one of the best releases of the year, I think. I think 100%. We'll be talking about this figure in December.
100%.
I completely agree.
This is a figure of the year contender, hands down. Juan, the Big Bretta, did his unboxing, and it is beautiful. Even the packaging, the box art. Usually with some customs, you get the half-ass box art. This is as close to perfection as you're going to get with this character. A little disappointing on the Hot Toys front because they had originally teased that they were going to do this figure when they did the 66 Batman and Robin, as well as the Batmobile. So glad to see that Mars picked it up and is doing it. It'd be interesting to see now if Hot Toys does do this figure. But to be frank, I think at this price point, this likeness, the tailoring, I don't think Hot Toys should do it because I don't think they'll be able to do a better job at this price point. So I think Mars was smart to capture this market because they knocked it out of the park. First, I feel like custom that I've actually considered purchasing.
Yeah, I feel like I've been seeing people want the Romero Joker since I started collecting, which is crazy. Like, it's been years that collectors have been asking for this. So you're absolutely right. The fact that we're getting it is fantastic. It gives me so much more confidence in some of the other figures that they make in the future. Romero's Joker isn't necessarily my Joker, but as good as this is for the price point, even I almost bought it because I'm such a big Batman fan, and my younger brother Mackenzie always used to watch this like on repeat in the background. So I think it looks just like the actor. I think it's fantastic. I love the tailoring. I love the head sculpts. For the price, you absolutely can't beat it if you're a Romero fan. I hope you got this already in your collection. I think it was Mars Toys that we were talking about for that Riddler the other day, right? I believe.
Same company.
The Jim Carrey.
Yeah, Dan.
So even for that, like I put my pre-order in for him, and this gives me confidence that it's actually going to turn out the way I'm hoping for. So.
Yeah, they're setting the tone with this, Ben. And I saw, I saw Doc Smizzle say that he went ahead and ordered the Gus Fring 2-pack. So with this figure coming out as strong as a prototype, it had me going through their catalog on 1/6 kit. Like, what do they have up for pre-order? Mm-hmm. They've got a Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton that I was tempted by. They've got some Breaking Bad figures. That the Riddler that you talked about, they're going to be dropping a Two-Face soon. So I still think I'm going to hold back on most of those because I think that those are all figures that I don't need. But this is so good that it makes me want to just do a Joker display, right? Like you have my in our Jokers, have this guy, go track down some of the other Jokers. Yeah, so this is terrific, and I would really.
Awesome
I'd
right?
also love to. Well, I'd love to see an Eartha
ahead,
Kitt Catwoman as well with this guy, or the original Riddler. Yeah. There's a few other characters they could go with for kind of a Batman Rogues Gallery from that era. That'd be so.
Chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but they may have teased a Penguin as well. So I think that they might have other figures or a Riddler. I forget which one, but yeah, they could go deep into this line, and I think that they will with the success of this one.
Another '89 Joker without the Mako.
Yeah, I think
got that one.
I think we were saying
was their
there's 3
most recent
versions.
one.
Oh,
yeah. With this one, there's 3 versions. I want to say from my understanding, it was back in October, but the surfboard, I think it was like a.
It's an accessory pack.
It was like a diorama. It wasn't like I don't think you bought it with the figure. You had to buy it as a separate purchase.
Because that one got me. I was like, oh, they still have it in stock. I was like, oh, it's really cheap. No, it's just a surfboard that they had in stock. So I almost pulled the trigger because this thing looks. The sculpt on the left with the mischievous look.
It's a shrink ray. Like
so good.
I think John's 100% right. This isn't. Dean said we might talk about this in December. I don't think not only will this be a nomination for third party of the year, but figure of the year. It's certainly up there.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, we might have 2 Jokers in the figure of the year category.
Can I say?
Yeah, please.
Sorry, Zach. One last thing. I saw some speculation that Mars Toys may do a second run of this based on the popularity, which, again, chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but they may have done in the past. So would be really interested if they, do a second batch of this. If they do at that price point, I am in for one.
So what are your thoughts, just quickly, I don't want to steamroll the show, but what are your thoughts at getting a Joker of this caliber, although unlicensed, and I understand the license, there's fees, but a Joker of this caliber with this amount of detail, tailoring, and likeness, and packaging for $160 versus what Hot Toys is giving us at their price point?
I think it's just a win, John, because obviously Hot Toys could not offer it for that cheap given the licensing, like you mentioned, but it's going to push them to either do their own or to continue to improve on the rest of their figures. Go ahead, Dean.
But maybe I'm misunderstanding John, but if you showed me this box and you photoshopped Hot Toys on this box, 100%. I would be shocked if you were like, that's not actually Hot Toys. That's third party. The quality on this figure is so good.
Which is why I'd be shitting my pants if I was Howard.
Yeah. Dude, the tailoring, the quality of the sculpt, the quality of the accessories and the number of head sculpts you get, the paint, it's very basic, right? White face, green hair. It's like, but that's what the character looked like. It's very accurate.
Yeah, you don't need the complex flesh tones that Hot Toys really excels at.
Right. Or even with the inner Joker, right? With the white paint isn't caked on him. It's almost like haphazardly put on. Whereas this guy was like extreme the opposite direction. It was like,
it's very clean.
Right. So it's like, but that, look, you could even see like the skin detail on his cheeks, like the mustache under the paint.
It's kind of like Zach's mustache, like it's there, but you can.
It's not really there.
Yeah, it's like
okay, you fucking guy.
I'd like a rooted mustache, please. Yes, rooted.
This is incredible for for $160. But that's the first thing I brought up was the price. It's insane.
It's a beautiful thing.
I love it. I love everything about it. This is actually Margot's last show, completely unrelated to anything that's happening tonight. If you want to save some money, though, $10 off your first purchase on 1/6 kit using code CW10 and Off the Racks Collectibles, $15 off your $100 purchase with code CW10. This one is they take it off the final price if you're doing a pre-order item, so just keep that in mind.
Just quickly, Big Dog Pound
yeah,
was asking if we were picking this up. I would consider it, but I think he's all gone right now, that deluxe version. All right, I think it's all sold out, from what I understand. But I would definitely consider picking this up for my Batman collection.
Definitely. Now our main topic of tonight.
Here we go.
Delorean-Gate, Hovergate, Axlegate, whatever you want to call it. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I want to start off by saying that I think the notion that only those that pre-ordered, only those that ordered, or only those that have this can complain about it. I plan to spend a lot of money with this company this year. I have spent a lot of money on this company in the past, 2017? Probably about 100 Hot Toys. I only own a few now, but I've... if you look at Dean's collection, like he joked earlier, a lot of my old Hot Toys are his current Hot Toys, right? And
yeah, I think I counted one time, and like 40 of my figures were yours at one point.
Yeah.
That's
now,
insane.
Hot Toys is not immune from issues like this, right? Some recent examples, Deadpool 1, a lot of the first batch figures, the wrists, it was either the inner surface of the hand or just the length of the peg, but when you would put those hands on and rotate them, it would slice into the suit, and a lot of people were doing like really janky things to fix this, like super gluing this outer edge or like pulling it up and then super gluing it so it couldn't rub. The Baby Yoda Hot Toys life size, splitting there at the chin, even just after one or two openings of the mouth, right? It would split pretty quickly. As John mentioned in our private chat, the Ironmonger with the hip issues, the one that I had, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And these are not things that I don't know that outside of the Deadpool, where I think they had made batches with longer wrist pegs, I don't think there was really any resolutions for these. I think people just kind of had to live with that. And with this with this release, the DeLorean 2, there's just been so many quality issues, and I didn't see these issues when it was released overseas. I'm seeing it mostly with the American collectors, and I don't know if there was some issue with these during transit that has caused this.
Zach, I don't know that this one is actually shipping in China yet. Joao could correct us, but I don't know that this has gotten to them just yet, which is odd.
Are you sure? Because I remember when Hot Toys showed the final photos, I thought that means that it's released overseas. But
yeah, the speculation was that the invoices were...
Okay, so Joao, if you can confirm. But at any rate, it seems like only this week we've started seeing these issues, I guess is the point that I'm trying to make. And the issues start here with the axles. So I knew something was wrong with this morning when I pulled the tire rear left out, and the problem might be the moving parts for this expensive pieces. Might never transform it again. In this case, he has this plastic strut here, which is cracked. And this has happened, I want to say I've seen at least 8 of these. I don't know that I have screenshots of all of them. At first, I thought my DeLorean was fine, but there is cracks in the axles. Please check your vehicle axles, as lots of people are showing cracks. Make sure you do this to avoid losing your warranty return, even if it's boxed. I want to say that Sideshow has a 30-day return policy. Marco, maybe if you can just double check that for me. It might be 45. And I completely agree with Mr. Mom Collectibles. The axles should have been die cast. And the issues didn't stop with the axles. So there's more issues here. Other collectors saying that there's scratches on different plastic parts. Again, Mr. Mom's Collectibles, this is one of his axles here, had a hairline crack in it. Issues with the chairs being unglued, issues with the paint finish. And, when it was kind of made mention of the Baby Yoda, the issues, a lot of people said, well, you should have read the instructions, right? And I guess, sure. I maintain always that these products for this price should be able to withstand some amount of mishandling, right? I'm not saying, you should put a figure in your pocket and walk around with it and be fine with it. But, you know, a little misactivation, or if you're lowering a Baby Yoda jaw and you go a little bit too far, I don't think your figure or collectible should be ruined. And in this case, all that's really shown in the instructions is transform into hover mode by pulling out the wheel and flip it towards the direction shown. Repeat the steps for all wheels. Same with the figure. There's some parts where they show that the vehicle can be damaged, but they're mostly like tiny little pieces throughout. And then in the instructions showing the wheel movement. But there's really not a lot there. Here's those smaller parts there. There's really not a lot there that is clear, right? Where Baby Yoda or other figures, they will show like, okay, you can only move the arm this many degrees and you don't want to keep it there very long. And it just seems like a shit show. And there's people that are upset, I think rightfully so. There's a lot of uncertainty. I know, Ben, you were concerned like, hey, if I got this to Canada, you know, what's going to happen? This is a Canadian collector. Sideshow said for the replacement, there's going to be no customs charges. It's, you know, being sent as a replacement item. So in that case, Ben, if you had an issue, I think you should still be there. You should still be good there. But it's honestly one of the worst things that I've seen in a while. And I think collectors should take this seriously. I think that collectors should use their voice. I think that even if you're not someone that purchased this figure, or a collectible rather, you should be concerned, because a lot of us, I mean, I stand to put in $750 at least for the 3 more Hot Toys that I am going to purchase this year, plus the ones that I've just bought. I think this is a big deal. I think it shows a lack of R&D by Hot Toys. The fact that people are just barely articulating these things and they're breaking. I think it shows cutting corners. I think that this definitely should have been a die-cast part, an integral part of this model, right? And people are breaking them right off the bat. And I'm disappointed because there's issues that are, you know, usually Hot Toys' strong points. The lights, the paint, the small details, right? You know, Hot Toys has never been particularly good on glue, but I don't want to see glue marks on my $850 DeLorean.
Some sort of undercoating on the tires.
Yeah, it's bad. And it's bad. And Ben had a great segment on this on his first live stream on Saturday.
On Sunday.
Check that out, because there was a lot of great points made by a lot of people. But I'm curious, because I don't think Dean and John and Marco have had a crack at this yet. No pun intended. What are your thoughts?
That was brilliant.
Thank you. What are your thoughts? Because this is fucking, this is huge.
You've been a little too calm, to be honest, though.
I know it's been a very long day, but I just gotta say, this has got to be a headache. And let me just say a few more things. This has got to be a headache for Sideshow. This has got to be a headache for Hot Toys. The amount of money that's going to be spent by Hot Toys, by Sideshow, to ship these to and fro until a collector is satisfied. The amount of money that Sideshow is going to have to send out to people as an offer to keep a damaged collectible. I'm seeing some people report $100 gift cards. For me personally, I wouldn't accept anything less than $300 or $400 gift card if this was my collectible that was damaged. And I understand that the fix can be done. Mr. Mom sent me a message and said that he had done, I want to say it was JBJ Weld. And sure, that would fix that piece of plastic, but you now have then made that plastic much stronger than the surrounding plastic. So I don't think you're out of the woods just yet. But Dean, you, I want to say maybe you had a crack on this on Will's channel, but
yeah,
I'm curious because this is just crazy. It's crazy, and it pisses me off, to be honest, that people think that you can only speak on this if you own it or if you've ordered it. It's bananas to me.
Yeah, it's like I said the other day. It's like, I don't need to be a pilot to know a plane doesn't belong in a tree, right? Like, if a kid is misbehaving at a grocery store, you don't need to be a parent to know that kid's a shithead. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't need to fucking own this to know that this is bullshit, or have ordered it. Speaking as a collector, if you're spending this kind of money, this is unacceptable. Now, Bretta said earlier, user error, which to some extent is true. But like Zach showed in the instructions, it doesn't show you exactly how you should be pulling this out. It just says the wheel pops out and you flip it up. It's like, okay, I mean, which way? It's like I said the other day, it was like when the iPhone 4 came out and it was dropping calls and fucking Steve Jobs is like, well, you have to hold it like this because you're blocking the signal.
I remember that bullshit.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, you have to grab the wheel from the back and pull out. It's like, okay, where does it say that anywhere? Nowhere. So that's I mean that's not the fault of the collector for just assuming that the thing is not gonna fucking break the first fucking time you transform the figure. Like Zach said, like, I mean, not that I think most collectors are not abusing their shit, right? You spend $1,000 on it. But the first time that you transform this thing, it's breaking. I mean, what kind of plastic are they using? Like, come on.
Real quick, Blackbird is saying Sideshow is offering an $85 credit if you keep it instead of returning it because possibly because the shipping is a nightmare. Just do me a favor, read these comments if they pop up. Go ahead, Steven.
Yeah. He totally derailed me. Sorry. Fuck. What was I gonna say?
I'm sorry. That was my bad. The comment was up for a while. We're getting a lot of good comments, so I wanted to make sure we kept up with them. I'll keep reading comments, and then if you come back to it, just hop in.
The last thing I remember you saying was, what type of plastic are they using, if that helps? Go ahead, Zach.
Draw the line 35. I hope this is a small batch issue and not a widespread design flaw. Have we heard about anyone overseas with this issue, or is it isolated to Sideshow's batch? I misspoke on Ben's show. It was my understanding that it had shipped overseas already. I'm being told today that is not accurate. 1/6 shooter, but this is the last thing I have and will ever have ordered with TW, considering canceling. Mr. Mobs Collectible says this is a unintentional user error, which, like Dean said, the instructions are very vague. And John, this goes back to the video we did on Inart, right? Like, they did a full 10-minute video. Hey, this is how you do basically everything that you need to know about this figure. This is exactly how you should do it. Yeah. I think Hot Toys could stand to learn from that. Paul says, my DeLorean has none of these issues, but it's not surprising with how the piece feels in hand. It's very light and delicate. 6 scale unglued seats isn't user error, and also people have had lighting issues.
Thank you.
I've seen one of a collector whose wheels are not even lighting up.
Yeah. So a couple things. Literally at the top of the show, we had a user comment that he got a replacement for his DeLorean and the lights were not working on his replacement. Another thing, we were watching a review of, I don't know who was doing the review, but he was showing the interior where you like put the little clock and his hand brushed up against the seat and the seat popped out. The glue's not even being held in place. That's not, like he just said right now, that's not user error. And it'd be one thing if it was, one or two different guys. But it's almost every single person posting about this thing every day, like one or two people every day, that something is wrong with their, whether it's the wiring on the lights, the glue coming undone, the details alongside of all those things not being glued in properly, or the hinges. Like, that's a lot of problems. Maybe if you had like one problem, you could be like, okay, it's a nice, the hinge on this figure is not great. Be wary of it. But like 4 different things you have to watch out for on a piece that costs $1,000. Ninja Squirrel says, when you rush a cake, painting, video game, anything, it's not the best it can be. Love, care, design, build quality, and attention to detail for $1,000 piece is lacking. Your loyalty to a company should also be.
It's also not like they started from scratch. This is like a 2.0 almost.
Okay,
like they've had a lot of the pieces already. Eat on the bone, buddy.
Wait your turn.
Okay, I'll stop talking.
Wow. I'm kidding. I know. I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
Before John goes, let me just rapid fire a few of these comments here because we're getting some real good comments. I appreciate you guys 98 of you guys that are here. GD says, OMG, Dean and Zach, that Ox PD was hilarious. Mark and I were dying. Also, I couldn't have told you this was broken. Look at that tire. Paul Schreiber says, for instance, opening the doors, the first time I was very conscious of how fragile it was. Benjamin Bowman makes a great point here. I wouldn't keep it for only $85 because it will immediately lose more than $85 in value just for being broken, which is a 100% fact. Doc says, I guess I'm a 1%er. I love my DeLorean. Just hate how the power toggle doesn't work with my smart plugs.
That's a huge issue as well.
It really is. He had mentioned that you have to take it apart to reset the switch every time you want to do that. Six Skill says there's new issues coming out. The doors don't align with the vehicle, and also when you open the doors and leave it in hover mode, the doors shuts on one side with the weight of the vehicle. Plenty more comments here. We'll star some and come back to them. John,
actually,
I want
Marco, I want you to go ahead, please. Take the floor.
Okay. Oh wow. So John's powering up here.
No, because I overspoke and I should have just zipped it.
No.
Go ahead.
Not at all, John. But I appreciate it. All right. So I will keep mine short and sweet though. So that point that, they kind of had a base to start with, which makes this even more disappointing because, I appreciated that they went the extra mile to re-engineer it from the prototype, right? There were those ugly screws that were showing, but then for them to rush something out that this feels like it could have been caught just with a little bit of testing, or Zach, like you said, to put out stronger messaging, either a video on this is exactly how you pull out the tire. If you don't do it just like this, you may have issues. That's another way that they could have gotten ahead of it. But for them to have zero communication, it feels pretty unacceptable for a figure or a vehicle of this price point, right? Like it's a premium vehicle. Even if, InArt's going to make one that's much more expensive down the line, this is really stretching the limits of a lot of Hot Toys collectors here. So I'm still excited to get mine. I am still cautiously optimistic that I may not have the problems, but it's very concerning. It gives me some anxiety. It makes me less excited for a release that I could not wait for. Now I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me have a later batch. Wait until you ship them all and give me one towards the end because maybe you've gone through some of these issues. Now, I don't know that Hot Toys is going to actually do something retroactively to say, we're having issues with this. Here's a recall. It feels like they're not. It feels like they're going to ignore this given the amount of time that this information has been out there. And that's disappointing to maybe think that they don't have your back. But overall, I'm still excited to get this in hand. I'm really disappointed with the light situation as well, to be honest with you. Like that's a big L for me. I know a lot of people wanted to have it in their cabinet, plugged into a smart plug, and the fact that you can't do that at all, it's like, what were you thinking? They weren't thinking at this point. So pretty disappointed in a lot of respects, but I still think it's going to be a really nice addition that I don't want to miss out on. But I know once I get it in hand, I'm testing the hell out of this thing. I'm going to be converting those wheels a bunch of times just to make sure that there are no issues. I'm going to freaking study every little corner of that just to make sure I don't need to send it back. So really, really a misstep for sure.
When Gigi hears weird clicking noises from the other room, she knows not to be concerned.
It's just my DeLorean,
like a lot
Gigi,
of aggressive clicking noises. Yeah,
that's
fair.
Right.
Draw the Line says, I'm hoping later batches are more closely monitored from Hot Toys. Anytime you have this many issues, Sideshow has to be reaching out to them. John and Ben, I want to let you guys give your takes, but I do have a question that I want to ask you guys, so please go ahead.
So Ben, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to save the best for last on this one here, John. So, boys, I feel like I've gone through this weird range of emotion with this because
you lost a few years of your life over this.
I did. I actually had to re-dye my beard the other day. I was getting real gray. Just for Ben. Just for Ben. I started out extremely excited because Back to the Future 2 is my favorite of the trilogy. I love Back to the Future 1 as well, but I watched Back to the Future 2 so much as a kid. I always loved the concept of a flying car. I just thought that was so cool. It's unfortunate that in 2015 we didn't have any yet, and we still really don't. So for this release specifically, this is going to be my first vehicle. It's quite a bit of money. I had to actually plan it. And then you start seeing a couple of those issues coming up on Facebook pages, and you hope that it is just user error or unintentional user error, like Ryan had said. But then you see some of these QC issues, and you're like, okay, what the heck is going on? And I recognize that with all things, even in business, you hear about the negative comments more than you'll hear about the positive ones. People are more likely to post that they received their DeLorean and it's in terrible condition versus they received their DeLorean and it's in amazing condition. So I feel like we've seen this influx of negativity where as we have no idea how many of these have actually gone out the door. So I'm still kind of optimistically crossing my fingers that this is still relatively condensed. I watched Doc Smizzle's unboxing the other night, and it re-enthused me a little bit because he was so excited to get it in hand, and I could tell that he had the same feeling that I know that I'm gonna have. Like just
his freaking grin the entire video,
dude. Like that nostalgia punch from his unboxing. If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend it. Doc Smizzle's unboxing, super great video, and he also knows his stuff. He knows his figures. He knows how to handle his collectibles. So it gives me confidence that I'm like that. When I continue to keep this order on its way, because like I haven't canceled it, it's paid off. I just have to pay the shipping now whenever Sideshow decides to release it. Then I'm going to get it in hand and see what I can do with it. Ultimately, I may end up still leaving this in the driving position for kind of like a permanent display. But Zach, you actually made a really good comment on my channel the other day as well on Sunday when you said that tires like this, after they sit in prone position for a long enough period of time, they may actually start to flatten on the bottom. So the fact that you can't at least even then rotate them to keep them kind of round and looking good is also kind of an R&D fail when you think about it.
100%.
And so I agree with the community that this does feel kind of rushed. Like I was excited to find out that we might get the DeLorean, like what was it, like a year sooner than they had originally kind of projected. But not if it means this kind of, tomfoolery. So I feel excited, but I also kind of feel disappointed. I'm feeling kind of just like, I hope I didn't waste my money. It is a lot of money. There's a lot of other things that I really want to get. At the same time, Doc said he's the 1%er. I bet you're more I bet it's more than that. Because I honestly feel like there's going to still be people like me that will just, I'm going to treat it super delicately, cross my fingers, it's good, and just enjoy the shit out of it in my display. I don't care if it's light or heavy, or it doesn't really matter. As long as it looks like the DeLorean, I will be excited to have it. But at the same time, I have to still reiterate, it is shit that collectors are having to deal with this and worry about it. And like you said earlier, Zach, I'm in Canada. I'm going to pay the shipping. I'm going to pay the customs. This is a pricey boy by the time I get it in hand. And I don't even want the inconvenience of having to send it back. Just that aspect of it stresses me out. So where it went from I was going to unbox this thing kind of almost privately and just kind of enjoy the process, now I feel like I actually have to film it just in case I break it while I'm trying to mess around with it so that I can prove that it wasn't, through bad skill level or rookiness or whatever you want to call it. So
Ben, what does this do for your enthusiasm around an 89 Batmobile? Does that like completely kill your potential to get one? Because it's like the last 2 weeks, the narrative has shifted from like, oh no, Hot Toys will probably improve from the prototype and maybe they'll make it XYZ longer and add more bells and whistles, to now it's like, man, they're probably going to put out another subpar release.
Yeah, sorry, Mark Mitchell says wheels rotate freely in hover mode. I didn't know that. If that's the case, that's cool. I'm surprised that it wouldn't then roll when it's down. That just seems like a strange block. But to answer your question, Marco, it doesn't worry me all that much for a Hot Toys Batmobile because I don't think that they're going to change that Batmobile all that much. I think it's basically the same one that we've already seen in the past, whereas this one, they took a lot of the same and then just tried to add this feature, which like changes really what the vehicle's supposed to be, but without doing it very well. Like you guys have mentioned, diecast. I don't even know. Like I agree, diecast would have been great, but I mean, like, why is this plastic so cheap? Like, man, like you guys remember some of the vehicles and stuff that we had as kids? You could throw that shit at the wall and it wouldn't crack. Like, how is it that this is such cheap plastic? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. So, yeah, John. Your thoughts, buddy?
So I'm going to try to be as respectful as I can to the community, but I'm going to speak from the heart. Okay? Like I always try to do. This DeLorean is a travesty.
Lean in your mic just a little bit more.
Sorry, I have it pushed away. Here we go. Let's really get it in.
Thank you, sir. I want that crispy audio.
This DeLorean is an absolute travesty. I can understand having sympathy for Hot Toys in other instances with reissues, with, seamless arms that crack. Okay, fine. I can bend with stuff like that eventually. But to this scale, a 2.0 second time around, this is not acceptable on any front. And personally, I think with all these issues that are happening, it's fine. People may want to take chances and see if they get one. But I think, speaking from the way I collect, morally, I don't think I would be okay with it. Just because me purchasing this DeLorean after people were super excited to receive it, and it come damaged to this extent, not one or two, but many community members. We're talking a lot of community members, and not wheel wells on this one, hubcaps on that one, like consistently the same issue throughout the piece with these people. It's, for me, morally irresponsible to purchase the item, because then I feel like I don't have the right to complain afterwards if the company is not producing product to the standard that they should be, because I ended up supporting a product that was half-ass and I just settled with it. I'm personally not rich. I can't take $1,000 to come to Canada. Closer to 1,500, maybe 13 to 1,400. Ben,
I think with customs it'll be like 1,200.
1,200. Yeah. I can't take 1,200 and roll the dice, and then have in the back of my mind that if I ever convert this, I have the chance of cracking the plastic, or the lights going out, or the seat coming undone. We're paying $1,000, $1,300 for a flipping plastic DeLorean, and you're telling me I gotta worry? No, worry should not even be from a company with Hot Toys caliber and all the years they've been in business. Worry should not even be a mention. Shouldn't even be a topic. It doesn't stop there. Okay, the axles user error, I think that's a bunch of baloney, because I can't see people sitting there yanking that bloody thing. This is a perfect example of an ironmonger situation where you may not break it today, but those cracks are going to come down the line. It's not only that. I've seen in multiple photos that undercoat, they didn't even take the proper time to do that undercoat where they hit the rubber tires. Ridiculous. The base, complaints of the base, not being able to, collectors not feeling comfortable that it's going to be able to support the weight of the DeLorean over time. Unacceptable. This was an unacceptable reason. And it's copy and paste. This is not a 2.0. This is a copy and paste of the original. What did they change? They just changed the hover conversion kit there that they added. That's it. And it was an epic fail. So is this a warranted 2.0? No. And if you rewatch the episode where even I was excited, even I threw in the hat in the ring and said, holy mac.
We were so excited that episode.
The whole community was like, wow. And then to get this, it's devastating. It is devastating. Now, I'm going to address a few other things. I'm sorry. So, number one, my thoughts on Hot Toys, giving up. I really think they just don't care. How could they care? How can a company care when they give us seamless bodies that tear, when they give us DeLoreans? I'll read this quickly. This was a good point, but I'll interrupt it for you, Bob. I'm still waiting, Bob, to find out if dinner's on you or if I'm paying. I would be willing to pay to have John record my voicemail message or perform an annual review of my subordinates. You'll love to hear it. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. So, in regards to Hot Toys, giving up. Hot Toys has competition right now on either side. They have Inart that's come out. Yeah, Inart's not perfect, but I'll tell you right now, they're doing better than Hot Toys, in my opinion. I'm just going to say it. I really, frankly, don't care what anyone thinks. And then on the other side, now they have third-party companies like Mars Toys stepping up to the game, that I would put that Joker against any Hot Toys figure. Any Hot Toys figure I'd put that Joker up against. So they just don't care. But and that goes back to my point, is they don't have to care, because if you can do a major F up like this and collectors are still willing to put their money on it and gamble, then why would they lose sleep over this? Why would they? Now, in regards to community members, collectors in Facebook chats saying, well, you could just keep it in hover, and you could just keep it as the regular DeLorean. You don't have to put it in hover mode. That blows my mind, and it's worrisome. It's worrisome as a tenured collector, and it's worrisome as for the new collectors coming into the community reading that, because that's not okay. You're not paying for a regular DeLorean. You're paying for the innovation, the R&D that went into making that a hover DeLorean. That's what you're paying for. So
people would make the same argument with seamless bodies, though. I think that's part of the reason that kind of narrative has been.
But a seamless body is a seamless body. You don't have to pose and keep it in a museum pose, right? You could keep it in a museum stance. The company is not selling you a pose. The company is selling you a Back to the Future vehicle from the second movie, which is the hover version.
But I mean, the company sells you a seamless body because it looks more lifelike and realistic, and then if you pose it for too long, it can break.
But I would say
but
that
posing a vehicle. Hold on, Zach. Posing a vehicle with the depiction that the vehicle is coming from that film. That film is coming from Back to the Future 2, and that's the depiction of that vehicle.
It is the purpose of the vehicle.
Then, like, I'm not buying a Back to the Future 2 vehicle to keep it in the back on the ground with the tires on the ground. Like, come on, guys. People who are saying that, like I said, no disrespect, but people who are saying that are full of shit, in my opinion, full of shit. That's full. Either it's clicks people are after, it's attention. That's for me. That's full of it. Saying comments like that because it's you're justifying the company to give us shit product. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Yeah, John, I'm never a fan of that. Where if they've advertised like multiple looks or multiple modes, like for Cable was an example that comes to mind. People were like, "Oh, just keep the shirt on because he looks like shit with the shirt off." It's like, well, then don't do an option to give me the shirt off. Just design it to where he always has stuff on, or else it's a loss.
Bro, it's like it'd be like if you bought a fucking transforming Optimus Prime that can't transform, but they sold you on the fact that it can transform.
But even in the chat, like not to single anyone out, but it's their money, it's their collections. I understand, but mentalities like that, I get ragged on because I keep pieces in the box. So it's okay to rag on someone because they keep items in the box.
That is okay to rag on, but
no, saying that putting it in hover mode is keeping in that's ridiculous. No, it's irresponsible. It's irresponsible, and I think it causes issues for collectors long term. And I say that Hot Toys is giving up. It's rush the product, get it out as quick as possible, and collect the money. That's all that was done here. Get it. You got the people excited with the blogger photos. Everybody was pumped. You got them excited because you got the product out quick, and then this is what they open. No, it's unacceptable.
Let me get a few of these comments here. Star Wars Universe, I'm completely with John. I'm getting sick of having QC issues from Hot Toys, whether it's something as simple as damaged black art box, all the way up to things like this DeLorean. Now, to Ben's, what you said, Ben, I would have to disagree a little bit because I think, you can certainly get those poses with a seamless body. You may not want to keep them in that pose for very long. Mm-hmm. But the issue that I have here in this specific example is just the actual articulation of these joints is causing that issue. And I think if the product can't perform as advertised, I said it on, I want to say it was on your show, but like keyboards, they're sold for like, so many activations, tires for this many miles or, whatever. If people are breaking it the first time they're articulating these joints, then that has to be some sort of a design failure.
Lighting issues.
Mr. Mom says, yeah, completely agree, John. The very main feature of this car was the hover conversion. They failed at it. It makes sense to just keep the Mark I. Should have had diecast at minimum to keep the frame strong over time. Now, there's three things I do want to say. First and foremost, I know Sam had mentioned, well, if you purchase with Sideshow, you're fine. And that is true. However, once you get to day 31, you are completely on your own. So when you open it, you have 30 days. They said that they want to be sure you're 100% satisfied. You are covered by a 30-day exchange or return window, and the warranty starts at that highly anticipated moment when the item arrives on your doorstep. So if you take 6 days to open that puppy, you got 24 days left. Outside of the 30-day window, we won't be able to provide a return, a refund, or a credit. Now
that's why either Sideshow or Hot Toys needs to offer an extended warranty on this, just like on a freaking car.
Now, as John mentioned, the manga issues weren't present immediately, right? These developed over time. So, I hope that my good friend Bob Dylan, who is part of the 1%, I hope in 5 years he's still part of the 1%, because I love that guy. But I would be concerned, if you get it, you open, it's great. 31 days down the line, you're like, hey, I'm going to be very gentle and I'm going to give it a hover conversion, and crack your plastic. InArt has to be looking at this and chomping at the bit, because when we first saw the reveal, I remember we were all so happy, and we were thinking, like, what possibly could InArt do to top this? And I think we have that answer. I think a durable mechanism for the transformation, better paint, better quality control. I certainly think that this is something that was a comment earlier. Do we think that this would get a recall? I think if Hot Toys has any semblance of respect for the community, I think they recall this. I think they get all the units back.
No, come on.
They've got to, John.
If anything, it's more push from Sideshow. Huge. It's not going to be Hot Toys. They don't give a fuck.
This is huge. This is too big.
What would be smart?
Maybe if it's something where a collector at home could retrofit a die-cast strut. If Hot Toys sends them the parts, maybe that's a better way. But to me, if in America we are having this problem, and supposedly we are a very small subset of the full Hot Toys consumer base, I can't imagine the problems you're going to be seeing when this hits full release across the pond.
Or they tweak it by then, right? You think they're stupid? They'll use us as the test. The market research, fix it, and then over there, cross border, overseas they'll get the good ones.
I think it has to be recalled.
I don't think they could recall it. The cost of that would
be
absolutely insane. Like, this is already out with the retailers and everything, independent retailers. Like, the amount of logistics that would even take.
So then what? Just sell a faulty product and everyone's going to have a broken DeLorean?
But that's what's happening.
I think it's going to end up being.
I know. I'm saying so.
Stuck with it, or you get your money back.
It's already happened. So it's
people are okay with it.
Are there going to be 65,000 of these on Sideshow Seconds with broken struts and lights that are out?
Can you imagine?
Or is there going to be a recall? Like they're both bad options, right? For
12-inch said it perfectly. It's going to any recall will be the starter because of Sideshow.
So. Yeah. I certainly hope so. This is terrible. And perhaps not a recall, but if later batches do fix it, I would certainly hope that collectors that have the first one are given the option to exchange for a second batch.
This was their opportunity to fucking slap the competition right in the face. Slap them, just shut them down. And you want to know what would have been the cherry on the cake for this? Is if they're down, if InArt had their DeLorean prepped to show the community, they would have been done. InArt just had to show, I won't even say just InArt, even Jazz. If Jazz Inc. wanted to come out and do the DeLorean, and they teased it and they showed it, and gave an early price point, and it was fair, oh my God.
Well, Jazz Inc. did want to do the DeLorean, and then I'm pretty sure they pulled the idea because of Hot Toys.
Exactly. So good idea as to why you should always stick to your guns and don't worry about worry about your business, and don't worry about the competition. Keep the competition in your rearview mirror.
But you worry about as much as a car. Let's be honest.
InArt can cost. Yeah, but I'm not gonna. InArt's gonna cost as much as a car. I'm not willing to drop $1,200 and pray to goodness that the thing's not gonna crack every time I touch it. It just.
And the thing that upsets me is, like, there was a time where we had mentioned some stuff with other companies, right? And people would say like, "Oh, Collecting Weekly Hot Toys fanboys," but it's like, I mean, we truly tried to be. I always jokingly call it equal opportunity roasters, but it's like, if this was a Jazzing product that had an issue, if this was a Sideshow product that had an issue, Mars Toys, Hot Toys, InArt, like, we're going to give our take, and it's going to be as level-headed as we can present it. But, no company is immune to this, right? There's a lot of Jazzing fans that got very upset that we had pointed out a post on his Facebook page. We got a lot of emails, a lot of comments. and we're trying to also show like, hey, other companies have issues too, and I think that we as a community should be as hard on Hot Toys as we are in these other companies that also make mistakes. And I think, you know, for collectors to say like it's not a big deal, or, you know, probably only a few people have these issues, or, you know, I'll just keep it in this mode, or you can only complain if you bought it. I think that gatekeeping, I think it's bad for the community. I think it's bad for the hobby.
I want to sneak 2 more things in if possible. Number 1, Vintage is in here. Happy birthday, buddy. Hope you have a good celebration.
What a guy.
Happy birthday.
What did I want to say? Oh yeah. The thing that's doing this, I don't even necessarily blame Hot Toys. I put the blame more on us, the consumer, the collector, because like I said, if you're putting your money towards it, like Hot Toys put this out and failed. You know what? I'm listening to the community. Oh, I can't wait for the N1 from Mandalorian to come out. Like,
I don't know how
that's a 1/6. They couldn't tackle the DeLorean. They're gonna tackle the Starfighter. Guys, like, get your shit together. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, the narrative has completely shifted in the last few weeks. And I will say, like, one thing that would make me feel comfortable as a collector, like, okay, maybe they can't do a recall, but if Sideshow came out, because I'm getting my, you know, vehicle from a Sideshow affiliate, if they came out and said, okay, we're extending the warranty period 2 more months, here's also a list of things that would be covered. Here's some videos of what you should be looking for. If you have any of these issues, we will exchange it. No problem, no sweat. But from the day you get it in your hands, you've got an additional few months to mess around with it. Here's exactly how you do it. I feel like that would be the most appropriate thing to do, but to be silent would be unacceptable. Go ahead, Ben.
I was just gonna say, John, like and I may have mistook what you were saying, so forgive me if that's the case. But it almost sounds like you're saying like it's the collector's fault for wanting this as bad as we do, but like we should vote with our wallet. That like because this is bad, we should just not buy it. But I mean, I feel like that is easy to say when you have a Mark 1 DeLorean sitting in your collection, and I've wanted a DeLorean the entire time I've been collecting and never been able to get one.
Hold on a second, Dean. No, Dean. Hold on, Dean.
And now I finally can get one, and like I agree, it does suck, but like I am also still really excited. I don't think it's the collector's fault for being excited and wanting this piece in their collection.
I'm not saying for the collector to not be excited. I have the Mark 1, and I was super excited to see 100%. This. To the point where I was even considered picking it up. What I'm saying is wrong is it's fantastic to be excited, but there has to be a point where you pump the brakes on excitement and you look at reality. You're missed out on the Mark 1, but you're willing to, right? You could pick up a Mark 1 if you were, not that if you were smart, but if you were, like, if you knew, you kind of knew, whatever. When this was announced, that Mark 1 trickled down and went down in price. Now, for the price that you're picking this, okay, so what would you rather pay? $1,800 for a beautiful Mark 1 that's intact, not really any damages.
No, I mean, you were right. It came down from like $2,500 to like $1,800. Like it did come down quite a bit.
So I would prefer to go back now and pick up the first one instead of supporting this broken
it's
one.
only an extra $400.
That's the purpose of this slide. Is obviously, John, you know, you have the first one. I think you're happy with it, but for the chat. And then also for the panel, real quick, going back to the chat, 82% say this is a big deal. 18% say it's not. I'm going to put up another poll. If you were in the market for a DeLorean today, right, would you rather
such a good question.
Get the first DeLorean, perhaps at a bit more of an expense, or roll the dice on the second one?
Which is not even a fair... You know why it's not a fair question? Because it is a copy and paste. It's a copy and paste with a shit ton of QC issues. They didn't tweak the body. It's the same mold. The Mr. Fusion little area is even worse because if you take Mr. Fusion off, it's a blank canvas there with 4 holes. So it's even worse than the first one. So I'm ecstatic for someone who complains about originality and maintaining the price of the original one. I'm ecstatic because this should push the original one to beyond where it was before.
I don't think we should be ecstatic that a lot of our friends are.
No. I'm not ecstatic that people. I'm not ecstatic that people are going through this, but it's now at the point where I'm not going to be sympathetic with you if you're taking the risk and purchasing this item when you see the QC issues that are attached to it. And secondly, this should be eye-opening to the company that is giving Hot Toys the licensing to do this. This is the second issue where collectors in the community are complaining about a Back to the Future product, right? Doc, and now the vehicle, which is a pretty big deal. The licensing, whoever's licensing this, I don't know how it works, that end of the collecting, but should be looking at other options at this point.
Yeah, and I think they may be, especially if InArt is potentially taking a crack at it. So, Marco, I know you have one coming. Ben, you have one coming as well. I guess maybe it just might be Dean and I, but, seeing all this for me, I would say if I was to pick one up, I think I would probably go with the Back to the Future 1 version. I think, parts like this, I think you can repair them, but at this price, I don't think I would be interested, even though I probably could do it. Can
we put into perspective though, when y'all say a few extra $100, like that's basically a few extra $100 and you're almost home to a Batmobile as well. So I think it's like not an insignificant amount of funds that you would need to put into getting the Mark I, because that thing is still pricey.
Yeah, definitely. To be honest, I don't think I would get a DeLorean, period. But I guess if the question is if I had to pick one, I would. Yeah, I would sooner get the Tumbler. To be honest,
for Ben to get this to him in Canada, it's $1,400, or for another $400, he could just get the first one with no flaws.
But that's kind of his fault for living there, though, right?
I mean, wow.
Yeah, you're right. But in the grand scheme, when you're already spending $1,400, $400 ain't shit.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, Dean.
And for the peace of mind, you're not going to have to ship it back. You're not going to have to worry about it, whatever the case, because the first one, even after all these years, has seemed to hold up in people's collection. I say go for the fucking first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How crazy is it
but John is 100% right. That first one, after all this shit,
that's about to go I've missed the slot now. The slot's gone.
So I'd be curious to see what the eBay prices are, to be honest.
Let's push forward, because I know I don't want to keep you guys here too long.
Can I just say one last thing though? It is insane how the narrative has just shifted. It is insane how the narrative has just shifted over the last few weeks. Like this was like everyone was thrilled about it. Killed the resale value of the first one. Absolute like grail. It's about to go waitlisted. Everyone get it now. It's your final opportunity, to now like, this thing's probably going to sit and go on discount. It's insane.
How they handle the matter will make or break them.
The way
you're right, John. You're right.
Eric Rodriguez says, if the only choices are $1,800 from some random person on the internet or $1,000 from Sideshow, I'm going Sideshow every day.
That's a good.
You're not wrong. And just remember, Sideshow has a warranty for a certain amount of time, but
well, and for me, I also
still debit card.
I also still like Back to the Future 2 more. So like, even though I have Back to the Future 1 figures, I still kind of wanted the second car more than the
this
first.
car shows up at the end of the first.
Yeah, but Ben, you said you're not going to put it in hover mode, so it doesn't matter. Put it on
they
stilts.
may not permanently display it that way. I still want to be able
I'm happy
to
for Ben
do
either
it,
way. I want my boys to be all right.
Now I know it, when I'm crying in 2 weeks from now, Dean is going to laugh at me. I can hear it.
I just like earlier Ben was like, it's hard not to buy it. It's like, no, it's not. Watch. Look at me not doing it.
It's just
but how big of a Back to the Future fan are you though?
Not,
it's good, so he doesn't like it.
No, I like Back to the Future, but I don't buy stuff from it.
Yeah,
but
like
spending $1,000 and not spending $1,000, you can't tell me spending $1,000 is easier than not spending it.
No, for sure. But like I've already started investing in this line.
Like,
I already
got hard. It's like
and that's the problem, because Ben's
I bought them already. I bought
already.
More than that. The Doc Brown cost me $500 Canadian.
No,
I ask you one favor, Ben. Just one favor.
This is like a $2,000 display. Like, this is insane.
I want to hear it live. I ask you one favor. This is it. You ready?
Of course.
You got to unbox the DeLorean live on Monday night.
On Monday night?
On Monday night unboxing.
Yeah, you want to see me cry publicly?
No, we're not gonna cry. You gotta
if
just
it's
unbox
cracked,
it live.
I may cry. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, if it's cracked, it's a gamble. This is a pure gamble. Just
if
like
it's cracked, John's gonna hit you with that time as the
I would be open to that, because like I said earlier, I feel now like I'm compelled to do it on camera either way. So I would be.
You get yours in. I will give you the entire slot on a Monday night.
Wow, he doesn't even do that for me. What the hell?
Well, even cracked, it's still better. Okay, anyways, just keep going.
Let's move on here. So the Back to the Future 2, 65% to 35% for the V1. So looking.
Sean Zip at Sean, you've Hot Toys. Sean has major investor behind the scenes in Hot Toys, guaranteed. There has to be.
Ben, you don't know it's anyone to prove a point and not get your
Useby is just
Sean.
an absolute optimist.
He is a saint, that
a
guy. But you can't be when it comes to Hot Toys.
No, I did have one last question. Sorry, I know we're trying to move on.
You said that 4 times.
Does the free figure fix that's included in the Patreon?
Oh,
No,
yes.
I would not.
I love you, Marco.
Wow,
That's
right, come on.
I would not touch that.
I want my money back.
I got to read the fine print now.
Marco, that was
That's pretty good.
All of a sudden,
I think
a tractor trailer pulls up
taking that off.
That's right.
Tractor trailer pulls up to Zach's house.
It's fucking 24 DeLoreans.
Amazing.
I have a question for you all. Today's show's probably going to run long, so let's just all plan on that.
You hate to hear it.
Open forum. I'm gonna put some time on the clock, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna track this. Let's go timer. We'll do 5-minute timer for all of you guys.
5 minutes each?
No, for
Okay,
everybody. It's
good.
gonna be an open discussion.
No, 5 minutes is too much, man. 3 minutes. Let's go.
No. It's everybody talking. So
That's
3
fine. We'll
minutes for
speed it up.
everybody?
Use the tongue.
Okay, 3-minute timer. Whoa, Jesus, Sean, not now. 3-minute timer. And my question for you all is, and again, this is an open forum. I'm only going to give you guys plus points. I'm not going to subtract points. The question I have for you is, what level of responsibility do distributors, retailers, and consumers have to each other when products fail to perform as intended?
That's
3 minutes on the clock.
beautiful question.
Just give me 2 seconds to get some stuff here ready. And I'm just going to kind of randomly press these buttons as we go. So 3 minutes on the clock.
Distributor, say it again. Distributor.
I know we said no negative points, but come on.
Yeah, come on, dude. What level of responsibility do distributors, retailers, and consumers have to each other when products fail to perform as intended? And it's open floor. There's no order here.
Okay, well, first of all, I don't think the consumer really owes either of them anything, except for maybe when a product is bad, speaking out about it. Because in terms of a purchaser, you could take your fucking business anywhere. So if you're the distributor, you better be getting your fucking product out there as soon as possible, wherever it needs to go. And as a seller, you should be providing the best possible product and service for your customers. So I think all the responsibility lies more so on those two than the consumer.
I'm going to go say, and a little bit of the responsibility falls on everyone. The company that is selling the product, they better ensure that they have some sort of return policy on the product. If a customer is not satisfied with it, they have the accessibility to return the item. But I also do feel like responsibility comes on to the consumer as well, and in the sense that if the consumer is being warned of these issues, and they still go ahead and decide to purchase the item and take the gamble, I don't think being upset afterwards, they shouldn't necessarily be upset afterwards, because in a situation like this where we are being slapped in the face with consistent issues throughout the community, taking a gamble, in my opinion, would be irresponsible, and it sets up a precedent with the company that they can produce half-ass product and it'll still be purchased.
I completely disagree with that, John, fundamentally, because these streams are pretty niche, right? Like, Joe Schmo doesn't know about these issues. He's just buying a DeLorean from Sideshow or wherever, excited about it, and then he may get a fucked up car and never know the reason why. So I think it's always going to be on the company to protect the consumer. We're coming out of a pandemic where we saw like record sales for so many companies, and they were living large, raising prices, and then to turn around and ever pass the buck to the customer, like, sorry, your box is dented, we're not going to replace it. Sorry, your DeLorean's broken, it's the 31st day, it's a design flaw, but you didn't check it in time, so sorry, the buck falls on you. That is complete BS to me, personally. I think in this country, we're protected by a lot of consumer friendly laws. And so at the end of the day, the consumer should always be protected, and the responsibility to communicate and to make it right always falls on the company in my eyes. How about you, Ben?
Not for NECA.
All great points, though.
Exactly.
I should look into the Canadian consumer laws. I don't know them well enough, clearly. But I think from the consumer side, I do think that feedback is important, whether that's negative or positive. Like I said, unfortunately, we get to hear about a lot of the issues with these things, but we never get to really hear like what's actually good. So I think that's important. I think resources for reviews is important, whether they watch streams or they just go to the Sideshow site and look at their reviews. Like there's 2 on there the last time I looked. That's ridiculous. Clearly there's been more than 2 units sold. From the seller and the distributor point of view, I think when there are mass issues like this DeLorean is facing, I do think that they should be flexible with their return policy and their warranty. I think that they should be willing to hear the community and put out instructional videos. Give us more information as to how to actually mitigate some of these problems from happening. And then there should be some level of longevity in terms of replacement. If something like a plastic piece, if you've done everything that you're supposed to do, and even after a certain period of time, an additional 30 days even call it, that you can still return it if something fails. Because like we said, what if it fails on the 31st day because it's still weak plastic? Then what do you do?
Let me just give some quick clarity here, because maybe I misunderstood. I don't mean that the fault should fall on the customer. The company should always take responsibility. But what I'm saying is the customer, fellow collectors and stuff, are taking the risk. I'm speaking in our community. They're taking the risk. They're seeing the issue. They shouldn't be upset when they receive it and it's damaged. The company should, of course, take ownership and return the item. But again, that's 30 days. How about when something happens on the 35th day? Why should the company be responsible for that when you know that you took the risk? And the company states in their policy that it's a 30-day window.
All right.
I will just really quickly say, I know we're out of time, but actually, just skip me. Let's move on.
No. Go.
No, I've lost it. Never mind.
Jesus Christ. If you don't use it, you lose it. Anyone else have anything they want to add before we move on here? No? Okay. All right, here we go.
Sorry. It just came back to me really quickly here. I'm sorry. It's been a long freaking
Why are you
week.
this way?
My mind is all over the place.
It's okay.
The company hasn't been transparent enough, either Sideshow or Hot Toys, for us to know how widespread of an issue this is. So 100%. We don't have all the data. So I don't even know what level of a gamble I'm taking. It could be just a few isolated cases. It could be widespread. I just don't know. So I don't really see it as a gamble. Like, I know it could be a problem, but I could also die tomorrow.
Hold on a second. But you considered in our purchasing the Joker as a gamble, and you wouldn't consider this a gamble?
Not like necessarily a gamble. I just didn't have enough data again. So I was like, I'm not familiar with this company. I still put my money where my mouth was because I was excited and pre-ordered 3 Jokers. So not enough of a gamble for me not to do it.
Okay, all good points there. I think you guys touched all the boxes. Raynor's Rady's Collectibles opened in San Antonio, Texas.
Hell yeah.
And Dean, I had a work emergency and I unfortunately wasn't able to join you, but tell me how that went.
Yeah, it went really great. I showed up a little later in the afternoon. I went on a Saturday, which isn't usually like the Bobbin Day is Sunday. If you know anything about flea markets, it's always about Sunday. But yeah, I spent about 40 minutes there talking to him, checking out the shop, looking at his inventory. And my man was wheeling and dealing, man. He was making things happen. That AT-AT sold at the bottom of the window there. I bought a couple figures off this table. People were coming in there and checking it out, and yeah, it was fantastic. It was so cool.
All right, yeah. He when I talked to him, he said he had made enough to cover rent for the month, so he was really happy.
Yeah, and
then obviously,
weekend,
obviously, once he covers inventory, at that point, it's all, money in the bank at that point. So, big props to Raynor. You'll probably see him sponsoring us here and there, and we're proud of him. And it's a goal that he's had for, I want to say, almost as long as I've known him. So for him to finally, take that grand opening step is pretty great. And yeah, that's definitely all the props go to Raynor.
Does he have an online portal, Zach?
No.
By chance?
But
No.
you could just message him on Facebook.
Because he can find a lot of things. So like,
Dude,
if you're looking for a specific thing, he has connections with like everyone.
Well, he did find my Mr. Freeze for me.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I found that, but he
Oh,
did
okay.
the deal. But yeah, like that. You just message him, and either he already owns it or he'll find it for you. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Dean's got a guy.
Let's just
Yeah.
blow through this quickly because again, we're at about that time. Lord of the Rings: Return of the King returning to theaters for the 20th anniversary. I think tickets are already available for that. And Return of the Jedi is coming to theaters in April. Dolby has added the re-release of Return of the Jedi to their theatrical schedule for April 28th, 2023. So very cool there. Our movie of the week was Batman Returns
That's
92.
a lot of returns.
I didn't think about that, Dean. That's a lot of returns. The monstrous penguin, Danny DeVito, who lives in the sewers beneath Gotham, joins up with wicked, shock-headed businessman Max Shrek to topple the Batman once and for all. But when Shrek's timid assistant, Selena Kyle, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, finds out and Shrek tries to kill her, she is transformed into the sexy Catwoman. She teams up with the penguin and Shrek to destroy Batman, but sparks fly unexpectedly when she confronts the Caped Crusader. Yeah, this movie's fantastic. The prosthetics used for Danny DeVito to transform him into the Penguin. This actually may be one of my favorite Danny DeVito roles. Michelle Pfeiffer, beautiful as Selena Kyle as Catwoman.
Brawl.
Just this movie is a fucking banger. I would say the only thing I don't like about this movie is I'm not too keen on the Batsuit. I really like the more angular, almost like more animalistic take on 89 Batman. But, you know, for these two movies, absolutely incredible. A lot of returns at theater and Sideshow. Jesus Christ. Yeah, just to keep it brief because we're running a bit long. Fantastic film. This is good stuff. The Tim Burton series, incredible. And I can't wait to see Michael Keaton back on the big screen in The Flash. Dean, what do you think?
Okay, this movie might have single-handedly turned me around on Batman.
Let's go.
I turned it on. It was like 4 a.m. I was like, you know what? I gotta watch this fucking movie anyway. Let me give it a crack. I haven't seen it since I was like a little kid, right?
I was on my fourth dream at 4 a.m.
And it's a little silly, right? It's not as gritty as like the Nolan trilogy or even the new Batman movie, but like it's fun. It's a fun watch. Keaton as Batman, you know, we watched the 89 Batman movie not that long ago, but it was so like campy. I was like, like I get it, but also like not for me. This movie, for some reason, found a balance where I was smiling the whole time I was watching it. Michelle Pfeiffer is probably one of the most beautiful women on the fucking face of the planet. Dear God. Every time she's on screen, I was just like jaw hit the floor. I was just like, oh my God, that woman's beautiful. And also, fucking Christopher Walken as the bad guy. I didn't see it coming.
Selena.
Yeah, I did not know he was in this movie, and then he shows up, and I was like, "Wow!" I loved it. I loved everything about this movie. Penguin. When the movie starts, you kind of feel really bad for him, and you're like, "How is this guy going to become a bad guy? He's so almost lovable and endearing, and then he turns into such a piece of shit like really fast." You're like, "Man, fuck this guy." Yeah, I watched this movie and I was like, I need more Batman. So I watched the newest one with the Riddler.
What'd you think of that one, actually? Cool.
Oh, I mean, I've seen that movie
hadn't
before.
seen it?
Oh,
okay.
No, I'd seen it before, but the only real complaint I have with this movie is with Selena Kyle. How she's just like a secretary, and then she goes fucking batshit crazy, and all of a sudden she's a fucking badass fighter. Where it's like when you look at like the new movie, you kind of get the idea that she's grown up and she's had to fucking fight for survival, and she's a hardened badass. Where it's like this movie, like I said, it's a little sillier. It's like, okay, she just went crazy and now she can fight really good. Like, all right, you gotta suspend some disbelief to enjoy it. But I had so much fun, like I loved every second of this movie. It was fantastic. Now I really want a Keaton Batman.
You're going for someone, if I remember, a year ago, half a year, whatever, before Punchline came out. Couldn't stand Batman. You're getting into it, and I'm here for it. Absolutely love it, Dean.
Yeah, I was watching John's fucking unboxings yesterday. It was a whole Batman day for me yesterday. It was wild.
Love it. Can't get a better day than that. But Punchline's coming soon. I'm excited to see that as well from on your end. So we'll stay tuned for that. 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb for this one. That's what this was. This was a fun movie. For me, I would still lean towards the 89 Batman over this. Just because I like Nicholson as Joker and, the whole nostalgia for it being the first time we see Keaton, and to Zach's point, the suit as well. But this was fun. Michelle Pfeiffer stole the show easily throughout the film. But again, you won't go wrong with watching either one of these, but I lean more towards 89. Danny DeVito, classic Penguin, for its time, right? This came out in 92. So for its time and that Tim Burton vibe, I think he did an awesome job. And Danny DeVito actually came out, I actually saw this video, and said this was the hardest role he's ever done, was the Penguin. And just
even harder than
passionate.
Frank? Oh my.
Just the passion that Tim Burton had, and Tim Burton had the character already, and Danny DeVito just had to come in and kind of, transform himself into the character. I think he did a great job.
This movie, when I was a kid, I shared this on LWO a few weeks ago. I used to watch at my British nanny's house, and she always had salt and vinegar Miss Vicky's chips in the cupboard. And so, for whatever reason now, when I rewatch this movie, I want salt and vinegar chips to go with it.
This is the widest sentence you've ever said, Ben. I love it.
I know. I'm good with it.
Wow.
I agree with you, Zach. I do like the 89 Batman suit better, but I like this film better. This one has just so much story packed into it. Dean, I think somebody mentioned it in the chat as well. Selena Kyle was supposed to have died there. She didn't necessarily just go crazy. And then she got nibbled on by the cats. So now she's got cat-like reflexes and essentially superpower.
Oh, so she actually died.
I think that's kind of the point, because then she references her 9 lives at the end of the film as well. When she puts the electricity in and electrocutes the dude, and she still lives from it. So
okay, I just thought she got some head
she did go a little crazy, but in terms of 6-scale figures, I've always wanted a Catwoman for obvious reasons. She's a badass. The outfit is wicked, such a cool costume. Danny DeVito is grisly and grosses me out and kind of freaks me out. Even still, when I was a kid watching this movie definitely freaked me out, especially his kind of clown villains at the beginning of the film, the Batman's fighting. Some of those clowns were pretty freaky, and this movie to me had a grit to it, unlike the grittiness of what we see now in movies, but it was really dark and kind of scary, and not an animated Batman movie, even of the time. And even the Batman animated series is supposed to be a little on the dark side, but this felt like it took it to another level. When Penguin bites that dude's nose, it was just oh man, and eating the fish and the sewer scene and all of the things. It was dark, definitely a dark film. I enjoyed watching it again though, and I like the penguins at the end when they're walking through the street and getting ready with their rockets and stuff. It's cute as hell. So I'm also a big cat person, so when she scratches her Discman or tries to swallow the bird whole, I can resonate with that character.
Wow. Yeah, not much to say that everyone hasn't already said. This movie rocks. Where I didn't love 89 Batman on the rewatch, absolutely loved every second of this. Bob Dylan says, "End of Batman Returns implies she was still alive. How amazing would it be to see a Pfeiffer cameo in The Flash?" I just want to see her one more time. She's still an absolute baddie. Watching her in Ant-Man, I know Gigi was obsessed. She kept telling me how beautiful is she. I was like, Gigi, relax, calm down. But this movie's just great, honestly. Like I said, I watched this a lot more as a kid, so I've just got a lot more affection for this particular film. But it totally held up on the rewatch. So it's a shame that we just got 2 movies from the Burton-verse. Love to see that Keaton is returning for The Flash, and would love to see those cameos like was just said. So yeah, what an absolutely terrific movie.
Fun fact: Michelle Pfeiffer had, when she was younger, had the most symmetrical face like out of like any human being. That's why she's so fucking beautiful.
She's still beautiful.
Yeah.
Quantumania, she stole the show in that movie.
What kind of fact is that?
Sometimes I feel like Ben doesn't listen to what I say, and that just confirms
Look it up. It's
Look it up. What do they go measure everyone's face to make sure that, like,
Yeah, that she's the number one in the world.
It's like a computer
Everyone,
diagram.
hey,
I don't know.
they
Michelle
went to
Pfeiffer, everyone.
the cave in Iron Man 3. They went in there and just like, oh,
Look,
Dean.
dude, I don't know who and why they do it. They just did it, and that was a thing I knew.
Oh,
They didn't measure my face.
Yeah, measure my beepee.
Not
They
symmetrical. They said it was upside down.
Yeah, they were like, why is it hooked to the left like that?
The old hook and ladder, eh? I don't even know where we're at. Is everyone good? We're running long tonight.
it's a schmeckle.
Jesus Christ, Dean. That seems kind of.
Hey,
That's that. Well, Patreons, please.
give a quick shout out to Hey!
Sorry.
Ian CV, Renee Mendez, Eric Mariscal, Quinn Aguirre, King Louis, Mark Pearson, Paul Schreiber, Equan, Chris Valserina, Ben Thomas, Chris Letty, David Jones, Sam Giss, Daminator, Joao Bretta, Thomas Clark, Eric Switzer, Six Guns Figs, Badfish, Billy Badfish, Sweet Danny Lee, Deanie Martin, Stephen Crett, Big Old Fern, Caesar Marquin, Mark Phillips, Lisa Martin Bomonsky, Rick Gregorio, The Everyday Collector, Ricardo Valdez, Jose CZ, Erwin Azucena, The Illustrious Raynor, Aled Morgan, Tukothri Wad, Derek B., Aries Portillo, Mark Randolph, Alvin J., Jazz Carroll, Joe Ridley, Pablo Meza, D-Rock, Matt Clevenger, Seth Tucker, CC3PO, Jesus Christ, Kevin, get off of me. Scott Smith, Don Madon, Jimmy James, Stephen Percha, Sean Usby, Scott Bradley, Steve and Maria Stanley, Eddie Manzanares, Louis Bennett, Chip Perrin, Jimmy Hernandez, Gigi the Judgmental, and Brenton Palmer. What a bunch of angels, Kevin.
Bunch of angels indeed. Our March Patreon benefits are the Papa Ox Collecting Weekly sticker, and then April will be announced very soon. If you want to join Patreon, it starts at $5 a month for the digital tier, $7.50 for the sticker sent straight to your door, and access to Ox After Dark replay. The $15 certified crispy tier is the figure fix assistance, excluding the DeLorean, and all the benefits of the previous tier, with the $25 tier being doubles of all the stickers we send and the Pog Deluxe set. Channel members, we have a bunch of angels in that tier as well. Mojo Z78, Absolute Irwin, LV Avenger 702, OMFG Rick, S-Beam, Andres IB, Daminator, Sam Giss, Thomas Clark, Benjamin Hansen, Chris V, Big O Fern, Cram, Alvin J, OG Fan, Mark Pearson, Ben Thomas, Paul Schreiber, Andrew Gibo, CC3PO, Carlito, CT603, Eddie Money Mendez, B-Chan, Fat Batman, Justin's Sports Cards Museum, and Philip the Fool. Erwin says we need more. Love the last Oxpedia episode. We need more of that. Yeah, that was fucking hilarious. 99 cents for Patreon members and $2.99 for the Peanut Gallery. Join our membership. Looking at the network here, we have After Dark tomorrow at 10:30. We have Small Talk OFAC. Thank you. OFAC. I've been so out of it this week. OFAC at 2:30. And let's see here. We have Club on Friday. We're still got to get a date for the reissue, but this Saturday we did play Ox PD. I think it was one of the funnier things that we've ever done. I honestly don't think I've ever laughed that hard. If you haven't watched it, I swear to you, it is one of the funniest things we've ever done. Pose Wars, we're still trying to figure out a date for that also. So bear with us. The last one kind of, not a lot of people tuned in. So we're trying to balance the days that we have with all the different, programs that we do to, get the most people entertained each month. Bricks and Brews is this Sunday. So that should be fun. And question of the week every Sunday. So lots of stuff for you guys to check out there. Also be sure to check out TeePublic if you'd like. And John, can you read the socials for me, please?
For sure, on Facebook, Collecting Weekly, as well as Collecting Weekly Auxiliary, the main community group. Instagram, at Collecting Weekly, at Collecting Weekly _clips, and at The Everyday Collector.
Hell yeah. Yeah, a bunch of really appreciate everyone that tuned into the show tonight. I think we had like 110 at the tippy top, but throughout the whole show it was like 95 to 100 plus. So we really appreciate that. You know, especially on tonight's show where I think it is such a big deal. You know, I think it was great to have extra eyes on the channel tonight. So, you know, there's a lot of places you could be on Tuesday night. We appreciate that you're here with us tonight. Marco, I think here in a bit, I may need to use take a small break for a second, but I think after the show we're doing a Creed 3 spoiler review on your channel, so that should be pretty fun.
Yeah, so 9 o'clock Pacific, 12 Eastern. Yeah, looking forward to chat with you. I know. I was like, do those numbers add up? I'm looking forward to discussing with you. So hop on over here. Should be starting here within the next. Dan, wish you were discussing with us. All right, we'll find a movie that we've all seen so we can do another one of these. But trying to do a few more like movie reviews / conversations on the channel here soon.
Black Adam, bro.
Yeah, Teen. We just never did it. We should do it. It's actually an evergreen film. It is. It's so hard to find the time. Too much Merlin, you know.
I'm telling you, once you start watching it, you literally can't stop because you never finish
There's no time for anything else.
Quick shout out.
15 minutes max.
Quick shout out to Zach, the boys here, and Will Foxification on Sunday this past weekend. It was my channel's 1-year birthday, which was pretty cool, and so I did my very first live stream. I'd never hosted a live stream before. I gave extremely last-minute notice to everybody, and apparently I missed John, so...
It worked out.
I still had some folks jump on. It was pretty cool. I really appreciated it. If you guys missed the stream, check it out, because there was also some great points on the show there as well. And then I really enjoyed doing a Sunday stream, so I may start doing a Sunday stream in the later afternoon, kind of going forward every week. So if you guys are interested, hit me up, let me know. You can always jump on, even folks in the chat, if you've ever wanted some screen time and come on and talk collectibles with me. Might be kind of fun to see some new faces out there. So let me know, and we'll go from there. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, just a happy birthday again to Chris over at Vintage. And Big Dog Pound. He's always in the chats shouting out panel members and community members.
Yeah.
So huge shout out to Big Dog Pound. Appreciate
John, give him a woo. Give him a woo.
Appreciate you, bud.
Give him a woo. He needs a woo.
Wow. Somebody clip that, please.
That's for who?
Use that as Aux PD, please, as a siren.
Who was the woo? Ian.
All I know is...
Or Pete. I don't know. What do you want?
Yeah, whoop, whoop. There you go. Oh, man. Yeah. Shout out to Big Dog Pound 1. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I have too many more shout outs to give, but yeah, we really genuinely appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. We had a really fun show, and yeah, it was a good show. Yeah, we'll be on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go, John.
No, I'll say I want to just say the last thing. Go.
No, I was done already.
Okay. I was just gonna say, guys, with everything we discussed, only one way to collect, and that's responsibly. So, take it easy. Dean,
what?
Do your thing.
Zach has to say, my name is Zach.
Oh, he was waiting for his cue. He was waiting for
I was waiting for my cue. What the hell?
Anyways.
It was a good show. It's crumbled. It's terrible.
Sometimes we do good shows, and
sometimes maybe good. Sometimes maybe.
Damn,
Bye.
son, where'd you find this?
Oh,
okay.
Anyways, my name is Zach.
I'm Dean.
I'm John.
I'm Marco.
And I'm Ben.
We'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
How fucking dare you, Bob Dylan? He said the show crumbled like the DeLorean struts. How dare you?